Okay. Hello, hello. How are you guys doing? Hey, Ringer. Nice. Hello. You're second? Yeah, I guess so. All right. Let's... I mean, we may as well get it started, huh? Zach, much appreciated. Thank you. So, yeah, if you guys don't know, MAQC is the tournament thing. I think they made some... Yeah, MAQC Season 6. Here it is. So it's a thing that's like kind of on Discord. Or at least the team leader needs to be on Discord. So, yeah. It's like a tournament. Let me check this. Oh, I saw a Tetra Rifle Seeker. That's not good. He's not using it now. What hangar would I assume is his best one? Probably this one, because it has the Orion instead of a Lancer. Let me... Ooh. Okay. Some very big differences in pilots here. Yeah, I mean... Good for you for not ranking up your rare pilots to rank 6 or max level, because it's kind of just a waste. It's not really worth it. But, like, dang, the difference between a rank 5 rare and a max level legendary is huge. It's a pretty big problem to have. You have basically the same implants here that I use, except I have days delay. These are also decent. These are, I mean, whatever. These damage cooldown. You really want warp range for Seeker. That's like one of the more important ones for Seeker. Rank 6. Yeah. Everything looks fair. Wait, why the heck is there an Ember Gun? Oh, yeah. See, this is the problem. This is the problem. You'd be better off if you just used a Revoker 10 and 6. You would. You'd be better off if you just use Revoker 10 and 6. People try to fill up the energy with an Ember Gun 8, thinking that it's going to do more, but it's not going to do more. It's really not. And it takes up one of your implant slots. You could be using a cooldown instead. But instead, you're using an epic implant, and you had to get that thing upgraded for, what, a rank 4 weapon that you're never going to use outside of a random sidearm? It's not that good. So, yeah, get rid of that Ember Gun. Replace it with a Revoker 6. I'm assuming that you have it. You probably do. But otherwise, I would say looks pretty good. Yeah. I mean, it definitely looks solid. It's not going to do... Wait, what else does he have? He has a Panther and a Lancer. That's a... Okay. Yeah. It's not going to be the... Like, you don't have the most aggressive hangar, right? Like, all 4 of these are fairly backline. But it's probably the best that you got. I doubt you have anything better than that. If you had, like, a Deathwalker, obviously, that would be good. You don't know what to buy since you're in one of the last tiers and you have an okay hangar. Okay. Easy, my clan. I'm assuming... That's an interesting hangar. Okay. So the Stormwrecks on Lacewing, obviously, those do really, really well. The Railgun on Orion's pretty good. But, like, this high SP, well, you have an epic pilot, so it's probably okay. For me, the rare pilot doesn't really do it. I would not... This is the thing with, like, ranking up your Stormwreck 10 to be able to use 2. It's not really that good. Like, Stormwreck Solus versus Stormwreck Lacewing. The Lacewing's kind of just better. Hornet Vortex isn't bad, but, you know, that's kind of forcing you to try to use 2 missile pilots, which isn't super practical. You don't even have a guided pilot here. You have a maxed close quarters rare one for I don't know what reason. The Lancer. Yeah. Oh, wait, he has a guide. Okay, so you have a guided pilot, you're just not using it? Oh, no, he's got 2 guided, yeah. So that's the problem with having builds that fight with each other for, like, their classification, right? So what I'd probably do here, like, let's work with this hangar. Or probably this hangar. Let's start off with this hangar, because I think this is better than the Lancer in terms of sniper builds. The guided Solus is just as good, if not better, than the Stormrack Solus, and the Stormrack Lacewing is way better than the guided Lacewing, right? And then you have both of these. What else? Panther and Lancer and a couple other random things. Thick House. Ares. Okay. So this is probably the best that you have. That's fine. And then this... What's the other weapon that he has? Like, does he have any other... Oh, he has an epic missile pilot. Wait. Is that better or worse than this one? How much damage does this? This weapon damage 26.7. It's just 23. So... Okay, so he does have the epic and the other one there. I was confused because he's got the rare one here for, like, you may as well use the epic one here. I don't know what's going on, but whatever. I guess it's not a big difference, I guess. But I mean, you can manage 2 missile pilots, I guess. So 2 missile builds is not the worst. Stormrack Vortex. I do almost feel like Hornet Vortex would be maybe better. I do kind of feel like Vortex is not... It seems like it would be a really good brawler type mech, but it's not. And yeah, for that reason, you do have legendary reload on him, but you don't. Okay, so definitely you should put the reload to prioritize your Lacewing, because your Lacewing is your better mech for sure. It's not even close. And then maybe you just put Hornet on that if it doesn't seem to survive that long, which I would guess that it probably doesn't. The Hornet, you can keep a lot more distance that way. But otherwise, yeah, 2 missiles is fine. This doesn't even have a pilot. Probably want to deal with that. But I would say this is generally your strongest hangar. You're right. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. He was talking about stuff to buy in, like, I don't know what tier. I mean, you could easily buy, like, a Hemlock or a Solus, or you have Solus, but you could easily buy a Hemlock in tier 8, and that would be okay, but I don't really think it's necessary to replace any of these things with that. What you're really looking for is you're looking for something that's a lot more aggressive, because all of these things are, like, the Vortex is the most aggressive thing that you have, and that's not really a good thing. That's not a good thing at all. And you also want some stuff that can be a bit more defensive, and usually it's good to go for mechs like Citadel, Blizzfrost, Surge even can all be used in both ways, right? They can be used aggressively and defensively to very good effect. So those are usually the ones that you want to go for. Deathwalker sort of as well, but not really. It's mostly aggressive. So, yeah. I mean, definitely, I think this is probably the first thing to get rid of, especially if you don't have a pilot for it. Let's see what we got here. 9,000. Is it the one that he's using? I saw... This is the only one with burrow beam, so I'm guessing not. Hold on, did he say anything? Let me go look for it. Usually play CPC with occasional tournaments, soon replacing the Eclipse with Mimicker. Mimicker Savants. Ooh. I would say... with Savant, though. Maybe. Maybe. Yeah, it could work. It's, Gemini, Savant, and Hornet, as well as Quantum Gun. I would say maybe take a weapon that doesn't require a target lock, personally, because that would be... Well, yeah, you already have the 12s here, but... yeah, I would say maybe try to get a weapon that doesn't require a target lock, because you're already pretty sort of guided heavy, and then you also have this that like kind of just doesn't have a lot of DPS. So in terms of firepower, you're almost 100% relying on this thing. Which, like, it works, I'm sure, but you don't want to rely on one build for all of that. In terms of mechs, it's mostly fine. Yeah, the Eclipse obviously is not really ideal. Is Mimicker more ideal than Eclipse? No, I don't really think so. Not really. Like, Eclipse is still used endgame, just not like top competitive endgame. It's used in like casual endgame a lot. Mimicker is you're not seeing Mimicker in competitive endgame, right? Even though it got a buff, it's not that good. So I don't think that, like, if you just want it for the sake of you want it, that's fine. I don't think it's going to improve your performance a lot, is all I'm saying. In terms of... I'd probably swap this for Stormrack, to be honest. Like, I know Gemini is easier, and you can get some very easy kills with it, and you don't even necessarily have to have mods. I see you don't have mods on your Lacewing. You'd probably want to get a couple mods if you had Stormrack, but Stormrack has a lot higher potential than Gemini does for that. The Quantum Guns, I think, is easily your worst weapon here. This thing does, like, no damage. You could... I mean, maybe if you had something to replace that with, you could maybe even just put the Gemini 10s on Outlaw instead, right? Well, you do have Savant 12s. That's probably better than... What was it? Quantum. Yeah, it's probably better than Quantum. And then... Or is it... I don't know, maybe this is your main hangar. I don't know. I would assume the one with Max Blizzfrost is. Well, you also have Gemini 12s. Well, you have a lot of stuff. You have a lot of stuff. Yeah, you got a lot of decent stuff. But yeah, I would say, I mean, first off, this shouldn't be here, right? Disruptor's not really a good weapon. This you could replace as well. This I do think is a pretty good build, but it's not like as meta as Burrow Boom. And then, like, if this is your main hangar, you should definitely have the Max Blizzfrost in there. I'm just going by which one has the best build, which is clearly that. Well, I don't know. I don't technically know which one is your main hangar, but both these hangars are pretty good. But there's like one or two builds that I definitely would not use. And I don't really think Mimicker's the way to go for that. I would say, like, what's the other thing? It's like having a brain fart. Let's see. This one. The hangars are all the same except for the middle mech. Salver, Blizzfrost, Bastion. Okay, it's one of these two. I almost feel like the Quasher Bastion's better than this kind of scuffed Blizzfrost build, but especially since that's only rank 3, that's not going to do much damage at all. You have a unspecialized pilot on there too. Oh, what's also unspecialized here? Yeah, that's going to be a little bit of a problem. If you want to keep like a sniper weapon or something, yeah, you're going to have to go for a pilot eventually. This pilot's also not specialized. This is beam weapon. This pilot is specialized, but it's bad. Like, it's low rank. This is not specialized, and this is specialized, but it's also... So your pilot situation is terrible. It's terrible. And I mean, I'm not even going to bother looking at your implants because your pilots are already really garbage. I would not use close quarters build on your outlaw. I just wouldn't do that. The compound beam seeker, that's fine. That's good. That'll work. Revoker surge, that's fine. That'll work. The Hornet Eclipse, even honestly, yeah, it'll probably also work. I would use these. So what do you got here? 16 energy. 12, 8. Yeah, maybe you just use 2 6s on that. I don't know. Maybe 2 compound 6s would do better on Blizzard. I don't know. I don't think you necessarily want to, like, triple down on the exact same weapon, especially if you don't have pilots for them. You'd be surprised how much damage you get from pilots. Like, pilots make up a lot of your damage output. So if you're trying to, like, triple down on the same type of weapon, then you have to triple down on that type of pilot, which can be very difficult unless you fork over a lot of Acoins. So I would not really recommend doing that. Again, these 2 builds are fine. This build is fine. I definitely wouldn't use that. And then this is like, yeah, you could make it work. It's fine. You definitely want something with at least a little bit of range, which you do kind of have, but yeah. And yeah, I wouldn't go with close quarters on an outlaw. It should try to have as much range as possible. So probably like the Hornet or the Quasher should be on outlaw instead, even though it has 20 energy and you wouldn't be using the full energy. It's like, it's whatever. It's better to use it optimally than to use it with full energy, right? Like filling up the entire energy is not like the biggest deal if it means making your hangar worse overall. That's a 16. Well, you could even put a overdriver 16 on your Bastion. Yeah, you could. I think that's actually what you should do. Because that'll match with this pilot too. Yeah, either your Bastion or your Blizzfrost. That's what I would do. You don't have... Wait, you're gonna take Deathwalker from Event Crate. So see your hangar and recommend you a weapon for credits. You don't have Stormrack, Legendary Reload, or Radius. There's no Legendary Radius. It just doesn't exist. Okay. You can still get Stormrack 10. I don't know if you have it. You should. You can and should still get Stormrack 10, even if you don't have the Legendary Reload. Like, I still don't have the Legendary Reload, but I have Stormrack 10 and 6. It's very, very good. You can still... what's most important with Stormrack, right? The first and foremost priority is making sure that you kill someone in a single magazine. The second most priority is to make sure that you can to make sure you can get out as many magazines as you can, right? That's where the reload comes in. But the first most priority is making sure that you can kill things with a single magazine, and that comes from damage output. It doesn't come from reload, it comes from damage output, which you can get from using a higher energy one or a pilot or an implant or whatever, right? So your top priority is damage, not the reload. So you still should get the Stormrack 10 is what I'm saying. Once again, you're in a situation where you're using Embergun 8 for kind of no reason. You probably would still be better off with a Revoker 6. That's an interesting Panther. That's a very interesting Panther. I mean, I get you probably don't have the Hornet 8, right? I'm guessing. If you're going to put a random sidearm on it, though, I would put something that's at least missile category so that you get the extra 20-ish% damage output, right? As opposed to this random assault weapon. So not only you only have one arm of an assault weapon, but you're also just not going to have a lot of damage output because it's not being boosted by your pilot. It also means that your pilot is fighting for implants. So you can't put any Hornet implants on here because you're too busy using Berserker implants, right? So, like, in this case, would I say put, like, a Stormrack 6 on the other side? Maybe. That might be better. This looks fine. This again, probably just put a RuFFles 6. It's not, you'll have 2 extra energy. Who cares? Like, it's not a big deal. Quashers on Redeemer? I don't think this is gonna do that well. Repeater 10 and Stormrack 6. Yeah, you could just be using 2 Stormracks. You could just be using 2 Stormracks. A Thick House Panther. Okay. So it's between either a Redeemer or a Brick House. I guess the Redeemer is kind of better. Yeah, you definitely should get the Stormrack 10. I think that's just it. You're going to have to get it eventually anyway. You may as well get it sooner rather than later, right? Like, I think it's pointless to wait on it. Y'all really love Seeker and Surge, huh? Yeah, anyone who's been playing for a little while, everyone basically has Seeker and Surge. That's just how it is. Yeah. Let's see, yours. I have to look. The problem is, like, look at all of them. Yeah, okay. Well, Stormrack Surge, no. I'm just gonna say hard pass on that. I've never thought Stormrack Surge was particularly good. Stormrack 12's on Salver. And there's better things to use your Stormracks on, like Lacewing. Podgun Blockhorn. Okay. Tetra Rifle Panther. So does he have a Salver? Or a Nomad? Tengu and... Oh, Max Tengu. And Vortex. Okay. I would get rid of the Panther, swap it with a Nomad. I think that's like a super easy first step. That's a super easy first step. The Stormrack 10 and 8, that's fine there. Gemini 10, I mean, this is kind of better with Stormrack, but I think Lacewing can make better use out of Gemini than Hemlock can. So fair enough. Fair enough. Keeping that there is whatever. Swapping these two might be good, but then again, Salver's pretty tanky. So maybe not. And, like, generally, Blockhorn's more of a brawler thing, but it's a lot less mobile is the problem, and so having a weapon with better range and with homing is maybe going to work out slightly better. And you also have Disruptor. That's interesting. Repeater. What is... Oh, wait, no, you have a Surge. Hold on, he's got a Surge, too. I forgot about that. So he has a Surge and a Nomad. Honestly, I'd get rid of both of these, probably. Like, Surge and Nomad are both better than these. So, yeah, I don't really know why. I wouldn't really do that. Savants and Repeaters and more Repeaters. Fragment guns. You're going to need 2 close quarters weapons. At least 1 close quarters weapon on Surge. You could get away with using a non-close quarters weapon on Nomad, though. You could, if you wanted to. But I would say that Nomad and Surge are both better than both of these, right? Especially since, like, this entire hangar... I don't even know what this hangar is, bro. This entire hangar is trying its absolute best to, like, never move out of spawn. You really should have something that's capable of applying some pressure. Let's grab this one. The goat. All right. Let's check both of these. I have to first see what the differences are. Because, like, it's obvious to you, but it's not obvious to me. I have to... It's like the Overdriver Blizzfrost and the Stormwreck Lacewing. I mean, Blizzfrost is kind of just better than Nomad, so... it is a rank lower, to be fair. And I'm not sure what kind of... Let me check. 92,000 versus 120,000. Ooh, okay. So, for the time being, while it's rank 4, the Nomad's probably going to be better. But as soon as you get this to rank 5, to where they're equal rank, the Blizzfrost should be better. Because if you... Yeah, it's going to be a little bit less base HP, but the ability's just nicer. It'll be a lot closer in terms of HP. So, yeah. You definitely want the Lacewing in there, though, right? So, again, like, this Nomad would get replaced by a Blizzfrost at some point. It is a rank higher, so you could make an argument to keep it there for now. That's fine. And then these two builds, obviously, you want Stormwreck on here, because that's the best weapon for Lacewing. The Stormwreck's the best weapon for Deathwalker as well. Burrow Beam Seeker, that's also really good. Revoker Surge, that's also really good. Revoker Nomad's also really good. And your pilots look mostly fine, with the exception of this one. With... Yeah, reload there. Yeah, reload there. All of the Revoker range and ability damage is not like a big deal. I would take dash distance if you can get it. Like if you do end up getting it. But again, you'll replace the Nomad, so it's not a big deal. That's fine. Yeah, the range and then damage, mag size, fire rate. Yep. Those are all the best ones there. And your mods also look pretty good. I mean, honestly, I would say this is the makings of a very, very good hangar. Obviously, you don't want to use Revoker forever, and you're not going to use Nomad forever, but those are like kind of the only two things. Otherwise, you're basically just building upon this. Let's put this one in. Oh, I saw a Burrow Beam Orion. That doesn't look... Okay, no, what are you doing? Okay, hold on. What does he say? What does he say? He says he's 4K SP and doesn't know what to do. Please help. Yeah, well, the problem is that your concept of mech weapon synergy doesn't exist. You've got an extremely poor DPS weapon on your most aggressive mech. It's not a good choice. You've got a weapon that specializes in long range and requires a target lock on a mech that can literally just teleport behind its target. It's not a good choice. Here, still not good. This build, not good. Why aren't you just using 2 Savant 8s? Like, what's going on? Why you or 2 Hornet 8s, right? Just pick one. This is okay. This kind of pointless. Like, why are you using a speed boost weapon? Or a weapon that gives you a speed boost on a mech that doesn't care if it has a speed boost. Like, you may as well give it to a mech that would actually benefit from that. I would go so far as to say even, like, Surge, right? That would even be decent. But otherwise, Aegis, maybe Orion, but generally Orion does better with ranged stuff because it's kind of squishy, so the pod gun's probably better. The particle beams... Disruptor, Repeater. Okay, so this is the only good Surge build that you have currently. You have Burrow Beam Seeker. This is also very good. Disruptor Orion, I wouldn't really go for that now. Because the weapon range isn't high enough. Hornet Aegis can be okay. Yeah. And then Charge Rocket Lacewing, right? The weapon range, again, the weapon range isn't that long. Typically, if you're using a Lacewing, you want to be up on top of a building somewhere, at which point you can't really move towards your target because you have to get off of the building that way. So you have very limited range in terms of what you're working with if you're using something like this. So what you really want is a weapon with a lot more reach to it, and Stormwreck is definitely has that. But the same thing for like Charge Rocket would also apply to Disruptor. It would also apply to Also, like Savant, even to a large extent. Their base range just isn't high enough to really use Lacewing super effectively. So, I would probably sack the Disruptor. I would put the Hornets on Lacewing because it has good range, right? You can get good stuff out of that. You could put the Charge Rockets on the Aegis, and that'll be fine. Aegis can be fairly aggressive because of the ability shield. And the Charge Rocket will help it close distance. The Repeater obviously stays on the Surge. The Burr Beam stays on the Seeker. And you put the Pod Gun... Oh, well, you do have Savant. Hold on. This is I have to check your pilots now, because your pilots are kind of crap. This is a good one. This is just a missile? Assault and missile? Yeah. Okay, so you use this pilot on the Charge Rocket, and you put that on the Aegis. And then you do have a guided pilot. That's the wrong Namor. And that's it. Okay. So you do have a guided pilot, so I would put Savant 8s on Orion. Not the most ideal, because again, it doesn't have the most base range. But rank 5 Savant 8 is going to be way better than rank 3 Gemini 6. There's no contest there. Helix Rack is not that good. Okay, well, maybe Strike Rocket 8 as well. I'm not a huge fan of the Strike Rocket 8s, but at very least, you'll have better base range, and that's going to really, really help Orion. So yeah, that's probably what I would do. I'd put Strike Rocket 8s here. Charge Rockets with this with the Namor pilot on Aegis. The Hornets with the rare pilot on the Lacewing. And also, by the way, the Hornet should always get your worst pilot. Hornet should always get your worst pilot. And the reason is because most of your damage per magazine, 22,000, which is every, how many? 15 shots, right? You can apply, if you're using 2 of them, it fires in bursts of 3, right? So technically, you only have 5 bursts in your magazine. If you're using 2 of them at the same time, then every time you fire 2 bursts of, like, every time you fire a burst from both sides, you can do that 5 times, right? Is essentially what I'm saying. Every single one of those will apply Venom. Your Venom damage is here, almost 30,000. Your damage per magazine is up here, 23,000. So this is your entire damage per magazine, by the way. So if you did what I just said, let me pull a... You know it's serious when I got the calculator up, right? You get like 23,000 times 2 from both weapons. You deal about 46,000 damage throughout that entire thing from your base weapons. Whereas you deal the basically 30,000 times 5, because you do that 5 times at like 150,000. And then it's 46. It's more than 3 times. It's essentially, the point is to say that your Venom damage ends up being more than 75% of your total damage output, and this has nothing to do with pilot specialization. Period. You could use a beam pilot, and your Venom damage would remain the exact same. So you don't care about having a great pilot on your Hornets, really. So your Hornet should always get your worst pilot. That's the point I'm trying to make. Because it only the pilot will only help your base damage, and your base damage is like such a minor aspect of your total DPS anyway that it doesn't really matter. And anyway, yeah, I think you get. I don't have to spend more time on that. Let's do this one. Legend. Okay. So we're working with these 2. Revoker Surge, okay. I have to try to figure out which one I like. I'll probably just focus on one and then figure out what you need and then look at the other one. I think this one's probably better. Repeater Seeker's pretty decent. Revoker Surge, pretty good. Burrow Beam Blizzfrost, pretty good. Stormwreck Lacewing, pretty good. Gemini Outlaw, pretty good. All of these are pretty good. Did I see a Deathwalker? No, it was a Dreadnought. Okay. Compound Beam 10 and 8. And then Revoker 8. Or not Revoker, Railgun 8s. Compound Beam and Railgun. Nah, okay. I mean, this honestly, this is probably the one that you want to go with. Maybe Compound Beam on Seeker, because Repeater's like not the best, obviously. Even at this SP, you have basically the same setup as me in terms of Repeater Seeker, so you probably have the same problems that I have too, which is that a full magazine of Repeater clearly isn't able to kill a lot of stuff. So you teleport behind somebody and you fully mag dump on them, and a lot of times they still don't die, so it takes a couple extra bursts to kill them, and that's not really ideal, right? So a better weapon would definitely be in order. It would definitely be something that you want to get sometime soon. Repeater works really well in lower SP, but it starts to fall off pretty quick, right? And then this is fine. Oh, you have the legendary. Okay, that's fine. That's good. And this here, you don't really need Revoker range. I would replace that with dash distance if you got it. This damage, fire rate, mag size, radius. That's pretty good. Cooldown would probably be better than cooldown or duration would probably be better than radius, to be honest, though. Damage and cooldown. Okay. Yeah, you're gonna want a better guided pilot at some point. Man, it's interesting because it's like apparently I'm not the only one who struggles with guided pilots. Apparently, basically nobody has a good guided pilot. But the rest of this does look very solid. You obviously could put the burrow beams on Surge, and if that's able to kill stuff, you might be better off that way. That would leave your... It would make your Surge a bit better. It would leave your Blizzfrost slightly worse, potentially. So, I don't know. That's up to you. But you're also going to want a better weapon on this. And I do think Compound Beam works very well on Seeker. So that's something you could go for. If you wanted to. But otherwise, everything looks... I mean, everything looks good, right? Everything looks good. You're going to want a Deathwalker. Or, like, a Citadel. Probably. Yeah, again, it's like, you have this, this, and this that are all being, like, super passive, and then you have these two things to be aggressive with. Usually, you want at least 3 things to be aggressive with. That's kind of like the rule of thumb that I would say. Because if you're sitting in the back, like, obviously, playstyles exist, right? And my playstyle is generally to be a bit more careful and passive as well. Sure. But still, in terms of the best hangars out there, you're going to want at least 3 things to be aggressive with most of the time. And so, like, a Citadel or a what's it called, a Deathwalker, I would probably replace the Seeker, is what I would say. Here, all right. Here's one that's actually for MAQC. Let's look at this. All 3 hangars are for MAQC, but you might swap Strike Rocket for Charge Rocket on Outlaw. But forced to use Mismatch of Rare Pilot. Forced to use Mismatch Rare Pilot. Okay. Got that. You got that. And you got... Oh, so it's just a Lacewing or a Hemlock, depending on the map. Sure. Okay, that's fine. And then that's another... Okay. It's another bad guided pilot. All of them are bad pilot. It's crazy. That's rank 5. It's rank 4. Okay. So what's hangar... Like, what is this hangar for? I'm trying to figure this out. Because, like, why would you not have an Outlaw in there? I don't understand. I would say either sack the Eclipse or sack the Blizzfrost. The Blizzfrost only rank 4, so like I understand if you want to do that. But I don't really see a reason to not have Outlaw in there. You know? In terms of implants, yeah. Cooldown duration, damage reload, that's good. Damage cooldown, yeah, okay. That's good. Cooldown, wait, no, that's dash time. I think they fixed that, didn't they? It doesn't give you extra resistance time anymore. That was a bug. Dash distance, damage cooldown. This is just damage radius cooldown, okay. You have some good pilot implants. I'm gonna guess that you buy some epic implants every now and again. Burnout, cooldown duration, stealth speed. And then range into cooldown, yeah, okay. Reload, radius. I would probably... Here's my thinking, here's my logic, right? I would probably put the better reload on the Lacewing. And the only reason that I would do that is that most likely your Deathwalker about half the time is going to get off one full magazine, and then someone's going to send you back, and then you're going to have to wait for your ability anyway. So at that point, a good reload doesn't matter. Right? And that's kind of my logic for that. If your Lacewing tends to die really quickly, then yeah, probably don't bother with it. But I mean, I would guess not. In the maps where it actually works, I would guess that survives a long time. I mean, it looks good. It looks good. Again, I don't really know what this one's for, but I would not really leave an Outlaw out of the picture. I happen to know what, yeah. I mean, I happen to know that that's just basically the best that you got. Let's take yours. What's the difference? Oh, I saw Gemini Panther. That's not great. Reverse Surge, Charge Rocket Lacewing, yeah. Probably wouldn't do that. Okay. 6 and 10, that's interesting. Most people have the 8s, but you have the 6 and 10. I didn't even notice that until just now. Okay, so it's, yeah. All right, so this is obviously, this build here is very good. Compound Beam Blizzfrost, also decent, but rank 4 Blizzfrost is like not super, hey, much appreciated. It's not super tanky, so using a close range weapon on it, it's not like necessarily the best idea. Stormwrack, Deathwalker, yeah, that's good. Damage, duration, I'd probably swap the radius for a cooldown implant, to be honest. Because your cooldown's very long, at least it will be once they actually fix the cooldown bug. Revoker Surge, that's... Well, you have, like, no implants on that, okay. This is pretty good, though. And then Tetra Orion. But you could just have a Lacewing. You also have Reavers and Squashers. Jover Driver, Gemini. Okay, well, Gemini is one that you could do. If you had Gemini 6, then using a Gemini 10 and 6 on Orion probably be better than Tetra Rifle. Especially since you don't have any, like, guided weapons in this hangar. They tend to do better than snipers do. They do. In terms of, like, range support type weapons, guided weapons are typically better than sniper type weapons. Because you just can hit more stuff with it. And then, well, you have Charge Rocket too. Wait, let's go back to this one. Wait, why aren't you using your Legendary pilot on this? Hold on. Oh, because it's only rank 2. Never mind. Never mind, that makes sense. You'd probably swap this with, like, a guided thing. Like, it's not bad to have... It's not bad to have, like, a less aggressive, like, a more passive thing here. Because you got, like, this, this, and this. And even this. So you have, like, 4 things that can be very aggressive, right? But in the wrong circumstances, that means that you burn out all of your mechs really, really quickly. If things just happen to go wrong, you're very aggressive, and you kind of are forced to be aggressive in most cases with those builds. And so having something at the end that can survive a really long time, like a Lacewing would be the most ideal thing, right? But maybe not all the maps are good for Lacewing, so in that case, you go with Orion. And what was on your Charge Rocket? Yeah, it's not great, but if you have Gemini 6, then probably just going with Gemini 6 and 10 on either Orion or Lacewing, probably your best bet for your 5th mech there. Okay, let's see this one. Sentinel is a pretty much hard no. Killshot Orion, Cheetah. Okay, well, I mean, this one's definitely your best one. Well, I don't know why you're using close quarters on, like, one of the worst close quarters mechs to exist. But I would stop doing it immediately, is what I would do. Ooh, okay, Tetra Orion, that's pretty good, right? It is pretty good. Gemini, yeah, Gemini 6 isn't there really the rank. Pod Gun, okay. Pod Gun might be better. I do also have, Savant 6. Quasher 6. Disruptor 8. Okay. Yeah, see, this is another case. Why are we using 2 different weapons here? There's no point. Like, yeah, you have a pilot that does both assault and missile, but then, like, okay, but now your implants are only helping one weapon where it could be helping both, right? So I would say just pick one, right? Either pick Overdriver or pick Disruptor, whichever one you think works better. In this case, you probably shouldn't stick with the Zephyr, though. Well, maybe. Yeah, it might actually be the best you have. Yeah, I think it is. Okay, that's unfortunate. You could use you could use Revoker 8s on Zephyr. That's fair enough. This build here on Outlaw, honestly, at this SP, that probably works fine. The Surge, that works fine. The Orion, that works fine. This, I would give it the Podgun 8s that you have here. Yeah, I would give it the Podgun 8s. I think it'll do a lot better. And then the Revokers, honestly, could maybe even go on this. And in which case, this pilot can be used on your Outlaw and to make it even stronger. That's probably how I would do it. Alternatively, you could use Overdrivers on Sentinel. And have 2... Oh, well, you have an 8. Okay, so he's got an 8 and a 12. Yeah, that's not going to work. You could use Disruptors on Sentinel. Yeah, whatever. Instead of the Zephyr, I mean. Instead of the Zephyr, use Disruptor on Sentinel, just as something that's something that doesn't have to get too close. Because the problem with Zephyr is that it would be forced to get really close, and it's going to die almost immediately to anything that's even remotely better than it, which is most things. And you already have a Surge, so like, why would you bother with a Zephyr? Yeah. Not that Sentinel is good. I'm not saying the Sentinel's good, but it is maybe better than Zephyr in that case. Second and third hangars are the main hangars according to map. Okay. First hangar is just displaying other stuff that you use sometimes. Okay, gotcha. Okay. So either Hornet or Strike... Oh, wrong way. Or Strike Rocket Volti. Alright, alright. Yeah, that makes sense. Depending on the map, sure. Overdriver Deathwalker, I'm not a huge fan of it, but it's okay. Revoker Surge, pretty good. Reaver Parasite, pretty good. Repeater Seeker, pretty good. But you probably have the same problem as me, where it's just like your repeaters don't really do enough damage. And so, what is the other stuff that you have? Graviton, Podgun, EM Rifle Orion. I would say the mechs are decent. Like, at this SP, Volti can still be really good, but you're not really going to want to use Volti long term, but you are going to want to use something that's pretty passive, right? Like, you're going to want to use something like, you could even use Dreadnought. That's fine. Silverthorn, probably not, but you could use Orion or Dreadnought. But something, I would say, generally speaking, something to carry these Strike Rocket 10s. Ideally Outlaw, obviously, but something in either case. But apart from that, your mechs are pretty good, but I don't think your weapons are super great. The Reavers is not that good. Reavers, sadly, is kind of mid, and it's going to be even more mid once the modifier goes away. And so you're going to want to replace that with... I don't know. Let's see what else. You could even replace it with Podgun. I don't hate Podgun Parasite, but like it's obviously not great. It's not the best. This is fine for now. This you're gonna want to use with something that has like some kind of radius, most ideally, like Stormrack or Charge Rocket. Because people can pretty easily just hide from you when you're using this, and you're not like that fast, so you just have to spend way too much time chasing them down. Whereas, like, if they try to hide from you while you're using a Storm Rack, you can literally just radius them to death anyway. So that's the difference between them. Obviously, that's just a guided platform type thing. And then this you're going to want to replace with a better close quarters weapon. If you got a better if you got like Burrow Beam or something, you probably put that on Surge and then put the Revokers on Seeker. That's probably what would happen. And then this is just, yeah, you just replace this with whatever you can find that's decent. Maybe Overdriver, it does have slightly better range. But yeah, Reaver DPS is like kind of just not that good, unfortunately. Especially only the 8s. Third preset is your main one, but you'll replace the Guardian with double Stormrack 10 Deathwalker, like, eventually. Like, stretch goals? I don't know why people are talking about... Okay. The third preset. Oh, right, okay. Yeah, this is kind of extremely out of place, huh? Yeah, that makes sense. Wait, oh. I see. Once he gets it to rank 4, I think is what he's saying. Alright. So, okay, Revoker, so this is garbage. You shouldn't really use Killshot at all. Podgun Orion, and I'm not just saying that either. Podgun Orion is okay. These are, okay, those are 10s. Maxed Guardian. Aegis with Stormrack. No legendary reload. Alright. Oh, you also have Solus. Okay. I mean, I almost feel like Solus would be better than Guardian. Like, even now. Like, obviously your Deathwalker isn't ranked up, but, like, even now it might even be better. But... yeah, you got some work to do. You shouldn't have any of those epics in there. You're going to want to rank up your Blizzfrost and your Deathwalker. And Solus, I don't know, maybe wait on that because it's going to get changed. So maybe it's not going to be that good. Parasite, probably a good one, but also not like the top priority. But mostly just these two. Mostly just these two. And you're going to want to replace this and this primarily. Honestly, this can stay because it's just a guided platform anyway. It doesn't really matter what mech it is, but you are going to want to replace it eventually with ideally an outlaw. So yeah, that's just something to do eventually. And then this is also one that you're going to want to replace at some point, but it's the lowest priority, right? Like, that can stay for a long time and still do fine. But you're not... like, Pod Gun Orion is not great. Yeah, you'd want to replace that with... I wouldn't say... because you don't really want a Strike Rocket and a Pod Gun build in your hangar. You don't really want that. That's not super ideal. So you'd probably replace the... you'd probably replace both of them, ideally. But you could just put, like, Railgun or something on Orion. You need help choosing weapons since you have legendary strike rocket range. Okay. Well, the thing is, like, and this is what I always tell people. You should never... I don't think there's really any case to buy a weapon strictly because you have an implant, right? You're not gonna... like, having an implant isn't going to make a weapon good. It's just gonna make an already good weapon better, right? So, like, if it wasn't worth getting, then you could have all of the best implants for it. It's still not really gonna be worth getting. You know what I'm saying? So the implants only really apply in the cases where it's, like, extremely close, right? Like, I don't know, let's say Viper versus Overdriver type thing. Where it's like they're very, very similar, so it's like whichever one you get, in that case, yeah, you can determine it based on which one you have better implants for. But that's only because they're basically equal value. Oh, interesting, okay. This, and this. I am not a huge fan of using Hornet on Orion. And it again goes back to the Venom damage, like I mentioned earlier. So, like, the Venom damage is like 70+% of your total damage output, right? Because this is your total magazine damage, whereas in a magazine you can apply Venom 5 times, and your Venom damage is just, you know, by default higher. It's like you get way more damage out of Venom than you do out of your base magazine. You do, right? But the Venom damage is not affected at all by Orion ability. So what is this actually doing? Your Orion ability, I mean, it slows them down, right? The stasis is obviously nice, and it's helpful. But ultimately, all it's doing is giving like a 2x multiplier to this tiny number that barely matters anyway. So instead of having a really bad base damage, you have a slightly less terrible, but still pretty terrible base damage. So it's kind of a waste to use it on Orion, and that's my reasoning for it. So I'd probably swap these two, if anything. And then, oh yeah, that's fine. This is fine. That's fine. Okay, that's the only active hanger he has. Yeah, these two... you probably want, well, at least one more thing that's pretty aggro. You would most likely get rid of the Aegis, since you already do have a pretty good shielded mech Blockhorn. So you don't really need a shielded thing. Like, you don't need two, really. So you'd probably end up getting rid of the Aegis in favor of... I don't know, like Nomad, Deathwalker, something like that, ideally, at some point. You have a ton of credits and you don't know what to do. Can you suggest some weapons to buy in Tier 7? How many credits is a ton of credits? Is it like almost 1 million? Because that's not a lot. That's enough for one thing. You guys don't spam. You're gonna be timed out if you're spamming. It's not possible for me to get to everybody. Yeah, and that's just something you. Yeah, I apologize for that. It's not possible though. Like I could try as hard as I want to, but it's not gonna happen. Also, wait, what? No, hold on. Is he? There's no way. 30,000. 30. Oh, okay. So this actually is more. I was gonna say. What? It's a 12 versus an 8, I guess, but I expected this to have. Oh, well, it's level 7 versus this. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I was gonna say I expected the 12 to have less damage because it's 2 ranks lower, but it's actually like almost 1 rank lower. Yeah, that's why. That's good. That's good. This not good. This pretty good. And then what else does he have? He has a Bastion. Savant Orion. Not my favorite, but it's okay. Bastion. Aegis. Okay. This is... Those are just the 8s. Yeah, this is fine. I mean, making use of... Well... Is it, though? I would get rid of the Vortex first off. Well, let's just get that out of the way, right? Get rid of the Vortex, replace it with Charge Rocket Bastion. Because this is carrying your heaviest energies, your heaviest energy weapons, right? But, like, why are you doing that, right? Well, why are you using a 12 when you could just be using an 8? So this is... You get basically the exact same damage out of a 16 energy mech, is what I'm saying. So you could replace... You could replace those weapons with, like, the Savants. That's not bad. Quasher. I'm looking through. Panther really likes to have a lot of range. Tetra Rifle is also not bad. But you already got a stun. Well, okay, you technically have 2. You have a good pilot there. Panther really likes to keep range, so I'm not so sold on the Panther here. Maybe swap that with Aegis instead. Yeah, maybe do like Savant Aegis or something like that. Because the problem is, like, and if you're using 16 energy anyway, like, you may as well take the mech that has higher base HP, right? Like, between Panther and Aegis, they have the same speed. They both have ability shields, essentially, which have the same cooldown and the same duration. So it's a matter of, do you take higher energy capacity, or do you take higher HP? Either way, you're using lower energy capacity, so you may as well take the high HP, right? Like, you're forced to use low energy capacity because you're not going to be using the 12 and 8. And even if you were, it's basically the same as using 2 8s. So your essential energy capacity is the same either way, so you may as well just take the Aegis because it has better HP. So I would replace that. Revoke or Vortex doesn't work very well. It's also rank 3, so there's no way that works very well. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. And then what did I say? Yeah, like Charge Rocket Bastion and like a Savant Aegis. Or maybe Tetra Rifle Aegis if you prefer. Or maybe Quasher Aegis if you also prefer. That doesn't really matter. It probably depends on the map. Depending, like, would determine which one actually does best. You have a legendary... Hold on. You have a legendary close quarters pilot, but you can't use it at the moment. It sucks because you don't have any mech for close quarters. Oh, okay, well, that's a big problem. Yeah, if you don't have a mech for close quarters, then that's probably the main issue. Although at this SP, you don't really need super aggro stuff. The thing is, like, what a lot of people don't really know, right? It's not that they just, like, refuse to understand it, but it's like it just doesn't really occur to them. Is, like, earlier SP, you can get away with a lot of really long-range spammy stuff. Doesn't really matter. There's also certain mechs and certain weapons that work really, really well at lower SP. But the higher SP, it's not the same. It's not the same at all. There are certain mechs that work way worse and certain mechs that work way better. Like Dreadnought's a great example. Dreadnought is one of the worst mechs to use at max SP. It's incredibly garbage. Most people don't know that. They just assume that, oh, well, it's really good at low SP, so it's probably really good at high. No, it's not. It's not. It's really bad. So there's just certain things that don't really translate. As you progress, they don't really translate the same way. So you can get away with not really using any specifically, like, brawler-type builds. Again, like, at max level, you want, generally, my rule of thumb is you want, like, 3 aggressive builds at max level. But apart from that, like, that's just a good baseline. But at lower, not so much. Stormrat Killshot I probably wouldn't do. What is this? Is this 10 and 6 Lancer? Okay. Charge Rocket Zephyr? It's a good weapon. It's a good weapon for Zephyr. It's sort of wasting the speed boost on it, but that's probably the best that you can do. I will say it's probably the best you... well, actually, maybe not. No, just do why don't, like, just do EMP spam on the Zephyr? I don't know why you don't. Oh, yeah, he's got it here. Yeah, exactly. Exactly like those. Exactly like those. Yeah, okay. That's garbage. So he's basically got 3... Okay, I wouldn't do that. I would say this is probably your best one. But you have a Tetra rifle that's just going to go to absolute waste. Because, like, this build, like, that's not going to do anything, you know? I'm assuming these are the only decent mechs that you have. Obviously, you're going to need to get better mechs, and I'm sure you will eventually. But since this is what you're working with, I would just put the Tetra rifle on Orion. And then put the Stormrat on Killshot, and then the Gemini on Lancer. It's not, like, the most ideal. Like, Stormrat Lancer is better. Gemini Orion is arguably better as well, but the Tetra Killshot is just so garbage that it's probably not really worth using. But these two, I think, that's probably the ideal way of using that. Yeah. What was it? I forget what it was that he said. But he was saying, oh, that's right. He said he had a legendary close quarters pilot, but no good close quarters mechs. Yeah, I mean, Zephyr's the best close quarters mech that you're going to get for a while. And I had this problem too. This is another thing that, like, people kind of gloss over when they're thinking about, like, progression and whatever, is that the first and only, honestly, the first and only decent close quarters mech that you have is Zephyr for the longest time. It's the only one. Until you get legendary ones. So obviously you're going to want some legendary ones. So like Blizzfrost, Nomad, Surge, even Eclipse is not like top meta, but you could use it very, very well until like, you know, 10, 12,000 SP. Like, wouldn't be a problem. All of those can be used pretty good with close quarters weapons. Seeker is another good one. Citadel and Deathwalker I probably wouldn't use with close quarters specifically, but those are also good ones to get. Hold on. You're 5.5K, but you're in the 7K bracket. Because, well, I mean, you signed up for that, so, like, I don't know. That's kind of your own fault, I will say. Like, nice name, by the way. But, like, Low key, you did sign up for that. What bracket? Hold on. I think I'm like 6-ish? I'll have to check. I don't remember exactly what my SP is. But I signed up for 8.2k. I remember that much. These. This is pretty good. Thank you very much, by the way. Panther. Wait, what's the difference between these? Literally nothing? Oh, it's just the side that the 12 is on changes. Okay. I was gonna say, I thought I saw something change. Okay, so this is the same hanger. It's the same hanger. Okay, good to know. I mean, with the mechs and the weapons that I'm seeing, right? The stuff that I see right in front of me, this is probably the best way of doing it. You're gonna want to mod on your Solus and your Lancer, by the way. But, you know, from what I'm seeing right in front of me, this is the best that you can do with it. But would I replace some stuff? At 6, it's like, that's very similar SP to what I have. What do you want? Again, I'm not a huge fan of Charge Rocket on Lancer or Lacewing because the base range is not that high. And if you're on top of a roof or something, it's really important to stay on top of that roof because that's where you're safe. If someone's like if they're out of range, it's pretty easy for someone to just be out of range. And if you're using a short range weapon like Charge Rocket, the base range is not that high. So I don't really like using Charge Rocket on either of those. Ideally, you'd swap it with Storm Rack. Charge Rocket doesn't work very well on Seeker, so this is fine for now. But that's just something to keep in mind, right? I mean, I would say each of these builds are decent individually. I'd say each of them are decent individually, but you do only have like one aggro thing, and if you're signing up for MAQC, then you might want at least one other thing that can... If you're the lowest SP in your bracket, or like in your group, 2 guided builds is probably not bad. This is also probably not bad. This might not cut it. Like, it just might not have enough DPS to kill stuff. That's a problem that I can probably foresee. And then this as well. But I think the main problem that you're going to have is that you're going to be stuck with, especially these two, you're going to be stuck with them for a really long time. So unless you forcibly scrap yourself into something else, you'll just survive the entire match doing kind of not a lot. Like, you'll survive, but you won't really do a lot. And that's obviously something that you need to try to avoid, is surviving for too long in something that isn't being actively helpful. Right. Okay. Oh, I saw Suppressor. Let's go. You got some interesting builds in here. Like, Quasher Surge, that's not going to work. All of your mechs stay the same. In terms of optimizing what you have, Podgun Outlaw's good. Stormrack Deathwalker's good. What's your implant? Decent. A Suppressor Gatecrasher's okay. Disruptor Solus is okay. Burrow Beam Search is okay. So this is definitely your best one. Wait, so what else does he have? He does have Revoker, but Burrow Beam's better, right? Okay. Oh, but he has a legendary. After they nerf Burrow Beam, you might actually be better off with Revoker, if for no other reason than the fact that your pilot is adding 54% on Revoker versus only 29%. It's like what, 25% better? Yeah. Yeah, your Revoker pilot's 25% better, so that's a pretty big deal. Savant 12 versus Disruptor 12. I would definitely go with Savant 12. Okay, so I do think that... What was it? I do think that this hangar is your best one, but I'd swap this with Savant instead of Disruptor. And then... Yeah. Yeah. And most of these mechs are actually really good, with the exception of Gatecrasher. That's kind of the only one that's not. All the rest of these are pretty good. Solus might be kind of worse after they rework it. I'm not really sure. I almost feel like it's gonna get buffed though. Like, to be honest, like, I think it's gonna be kind of a buff. It might even be a little bit better. Because the speed boost might be kind of good. I don't know. Maybe it won't matter. Yeah, maybe it won't matter. But yeah, this is definitely not going to be great. And Suppressor is honestly your worst weapon. Like, it's kind of the worst weapon between like Stormwreck, Podgun, Suppressor. It's kind of the worst of the three, so putting it on the worst mech is a valid decision, because it's probably not going to do great anyway. You have Compound 16, which mech do you use it on? Maybe none. We'll see. You want to go tier 7, have 2.5 million credits. So you're in tier 6. You're in tier 6 and you want to get to tier 7. Okay. Again. Legendary versus rare. 17% versus 37%. So it's 20% better on the Revoker one. At this SP, yeah, Burrow-Beam would still be really good at this SP. So Burrow-Beam is going to be better for now, but after the nerf, it probably won't, to be honest. Tetra I actually do kind of like Tetra Rifle Sentinel. It's actually not that bad. Hornet, I explained why I don't like Hornet Orion before already, so I'm gonna just leave that there as like a I don't really like that a whole lot type thing. The Burrow-Beam, like putting a Revoker on Surge is probably fine, and then the Burrow-Beam on Seeker. Even after the nerf, this build would probably still be pretty good because the damage boost the Seeker gets. And do you have a... No, you don't have a Seeker bonus damage implant, but if you did, it'd be pretty good. And then, yeah, so you put pod guns on here. I saw you have pod gun. Not with a good pilot, though. Ah, crap. Okay. So in this case, what I'd probably say, the Savant's on Orion, the Hornet's on Lancer. Because again, you like... Here's the thing. Neither of these really want to be using a weapon with low range, which Savant kind of has. Like, you look at it, max range 80. It's not that good. Neither of these really want to be doing that. However, in the case of Orion, it is a matter of, well, maybe you have to come out from cover and you take a little bit of damage. Whereas the case of Lancer, it's you probably have to get off of the building that you were on top of. So you have to like come all the way off, right? And that's a bit more of a major deal, I would say. And again, Hornet doesn't work very well with Orion because most of your damage is in the Venom, and the Hunter's Mark doesn't actually increase that Venom damage. So you'd be better off, I think, just swapping these two weapons, and then everything else looks okay. Obviously, that's not great, but it's also not the worst, surprisingly, especially at this SP. Yeah, I've used it before. I happen to know that. This is your hangar you'll be using for MAQC. Okay. Okay, it's just one. Just one. Okay. Makes it easy. Decent. Decent. Rank 6. Okay. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I keep forgetting. Like, I was gonna ask, like, wait, why do I see so many people with really high rank Blizzfrost? But no, it makes sense because people got so many of those blueprints for free. I have so many of those blueprints for free. I could actually almost max mine out immediately if I wanted to. Not actually because I don't have the credits for it, but you get what I'm saying. Revoker Surge, sure. Burrow Blizzfrost, sure. Hornet Parasite. These all look decent. Yeah, this weapon orientation is probably better. Okay. I mean, again, individually, all of these builds are decent. You have 1, 2, 3 mechs that can be pretty aggressive, 2 mechs that are going to be fairly passive, but they'll be very effective. Dealing with Lacewings is maybe going to be your biggest problem, but you do have this Parasite, which would be very good against it. But you don't even really like the Parasite itself can be very good against it if you just get close enough to Link. But you also have Hornet, which has decent homing range. Podgun can be okay, but the homing range is not great on it, right? So, like, in a lot of cases, it forces you to come out from cover in order to get in range, and that causes you to take a lot of damage and or die, which is obviously not ideal. This range, 19%. 19% on top of what? 80 meters is... That's like... It's like an extra 16-ish meters. So it's like 90s, almost 100. Yes, this has even worse range than this does, which is, yeah, again, not great. But it's like you have three attempts at it, is essentially what I'm saying. A Lacewing, it will be the toughest one to deal with. The Lacewings will be the toughest ones to deal with. But you will have two, what am I talking? 3 shots at it. You'll have 3 shots at it, is essentially what I'm saying. And then no Deathwalker is not great, and no Outlaw is not great, but it is what it is. Not bad though. I would say it's a pretty good one. It's probably better than what mine is. Hey Lego, much appreciated. I didn't see that till just now. Your third hangar is what you used to run like a month ago. So what do you use now? Oh, okay. So he's just, yeah, okay. Yeah, what he's trying to say is he got really mega lucky. Okay. Fair enough. Dang, yeah. Okay. Good. This is good. Only rank 3. You could have got it from the battle pass at rank 4, so that's unfortunate. Suppressor, Hornet Lacewing's decent. Tetra Ryan's decent. Suppressor Blizzfrost is meh. I mean, like, I tried it. It's not that good, but I do like Suppressor, so I'm not going to complain about it too much. No, those are just 6s. Viper 6. Burrow-Beam. Oakwasher 8. Would you change any of this stuff? This is, like, my main concern, I would say, at this point, is that rank 3 weapon is just not gonna do it. You know, like, you lose so much damage. Like, the difference between rank 3 and rank 5, it's not enough to just have a decent weapon, right? Like, a rank 5 is over 50% better. It's over 50% better. So even though these are 8s, they're performing about the same as like a 5, right? So it's performing worse than the 6 would. So you essentially have worse than compound beam 6s on here, which is not great. Now, does it matter a ton? No, not really, because the main point of this weapon is just EMP spam, and your blast damage probably does decent damage anyway. and you also have a damage boost. So it's like, it's not the biggest deal. But if you had a better weapon, you would maybe want to go for that. Not Missile Rack 8. Disc Launcher. No, probably not Disc Launcher 8. Yeah. I don't know what else you have. If you have anything else, then maybe do that, like Repeater or Revoker. Yeah, I don't see any Revokers. No reply. Sorry, I was just saying stuff. Hello, how's it going? All right, I'll check Night Furies. Let's see, Burrow Beam, Charge Rocket, or just nothing at all in terms of the Deathwalker. Well, that's not great. That's got to be an achievement hanger, right? It's definitely something. So it's between these two. He has Orion, the Blizzfrost. No. It's between these two. Lace Swing, Nomad. Okay. So I would say Charge Rocket's better than Burrow Beam on Deathwalker. Because the radius is nice. How's my day? It's doing alright. Can't complain. Yeah, I'm just doing this. Get out of the way. People always want me to do these streams. Audio just copy paste. Yeah, that's true. I can't really I can't keep up with conversation. If I ask a question about somebody's hangar, there's like a 90% chance that I'm not gonna end up seeing the response because there's just so many people going crazy. So it's unlikely that I see anything about it. But so I just try to make sense of things the best I can. Podgun here, Gemini here. I don't like Revoker Citadel. I don't think is great. Like that level of close quarters. Citadel's kind of fast, but it's not really that fast, right? Burrow Beam 12s. Yeah, I guess it is like you. See. Maybe it's worth doing this just because. Here's what I'm thinking. It might be worth doing Burrow Beam on Deathwalker simply because you have them. And if you weren't using them there, you wouldn't really use them at all. Because it's like you have like a 1 on Blizzfrost, right? It's not going to be that great. So this is probably Stormrack, Revoker, and then I would say probably the Charge Rocket 8s, because you have an 8. Yeah, you have 8 and 6. Charge Rocket 8s on Citadel instead of maybe the Nomad. And then everything else, more or less, keep it the way it is, unless you have a decent barrage pilot. And you have a really garbage guided pilot. 29% versus 39%, essentially. That's 10% difference. Yeah, I don't know. The point is Podgun Orion might be slightly better if you have the 8 and 10. But if not, then yeah, you just keep that. And then maybe replace this with like a Charge Rocket Citadel instead. But yeah, keeping this the way it is just so you can get use out of these double Burrow Beam 12s. Like, and this is the reason that I don't rank up a lot of stuff. People ask, like, when are you going to rank up your Stormrack 10s? Like, I'm just, whenever it becomes useful. Like, at the end of the day, what do I need double Stormrack 10s for? I wouldn't use 2 of them on most things. So, like, to me, it just doesn't really matter. So this is the sort of thing where it's like, kind of the same deal. Like, why bother ranking up your Burrow Beam 12? Like, just because you can and just because it's good doesn't mean that you have a good way to use it, right? Like, it's not really ideal to use it in this case. So, the only option that you have really is the Deathwalker, and so, I mean, you may as well make use of it now that you have it, but it wasn't really necessary. But it also could be that he did it simply because that's the only Burrow Beam that he has, and he doesn't have like the 8 or the 6. You only have one good missile pilot. Yeah. That's another problem. But that you'll... same for me, right? Like, it's not ideal, but it's not the biggest deal, I don't think. You have Paragon? Yeah, well, that's not really gonna work. Your hangar is almost full legendary. You can't think of weapons. Okay. Not good. Heck is that? Also not really good. So you're mostly working with these two. It's just between Compound Beam and Tetra Rifle on Deathwalker. That's not really ideal. Railgun on Hemlock, that's not going to work so well. Why is it not going to work so well? I mean, you probably already know, but, like, you literally have a thing right here. It's like, just this shield would take out 2 shots. But, like, this one... Man, okay, hold on. I'm looking for one that's higher level than that. Level 2. Still only 2 layers. Do you have anything that's... You need to upgrade your perimeter multilayer. That's kind of the best mod. This is Compound Beam and Revoker 10. It is a beam pilot. So I would just put the compound beams on Killshot, I guess. Like, why not? Or actually, no. Put the Revokers on Killshot. The compound beams on Eclipse, because compound beam has longer range, a little bit longer range. So that'll just help your Eclipse, which is a little bit slower. It's harder for it to close distance, and it's really important that Revoker gets like right up in your face, which for Eclipse is not that easy to do, but for Killshot's pretty easy to do. So that's fine. This build here, that's okay. Rank 3 Gemini say, yeah, it's not ideal, but it's okay. This, if you have Orion, just replace it with Orion. It's going to do way better, because Orion gets the massive amount of shield piercing built in with the ability. Like, once you hit somebody with the ability, you get a lot of shield piercing, and that's why that's good, right? Railgun, basically any sniper weapon outside of on Orion is really extremely garbage, because they don't have shield piercing. Even Tetra Rifle, which has... Oh, I thought this was double 8s, no, it's 8 and 12. It has 15%. It's not that much, right? 15% is not a lot. It's not going to do a ton of damage. You're going to have to more or less take down all the shields first and then deal the real damage. And that just takes a lot of time. So most sniper weapons not really worth using unless you're using it on Orion. So this would unironically be better if you weren't using a legendary mech. The compound beam's on here. The Revoker's on here. I mean, I guess you can keep Tetra Rifle on Deathwalker, but it's not good, right? You should aim for something like Stormrack 10. And, like, try to get Stormrack 10 and then get it to rank 6. That'll get it so that you can use 2 of them. Instead of investing in, like, some of these other random things. Like, Railgun 8's level 2. I'm not really sure. Like, that's kind of just a waste of, like, what, 30,000 credits? There wasn't really much point of that. You're not going to get them to rank 6. You shouldn't get them to rank 6. Upgrading them's kind of pointless. So, yeah. You should only really focus upgrades, like weapon upgrades, on the things that you're actually planning to rank up, right? Like, even Revoker 8 as well. It's another, like, 30k credits that you could have used somewhere else, but they're gone now. And you got, like, a 2% damage buff out of that. Not really worth it. Gemini 10, that's fair enough, because once you get it to rank 6, you get to use 2 of them. And that's why ranking up high energy weapons is actually good. So the Gemini 10, fair enough. Tetra Rifle 12, I probably wouldn't because Tetra Rifle's not that good. Revoker 10, kind of fair enough, but maybe hold off on that because Revoker's like not super great anymore. So, yeah. You're definitely going to want Storm Racket though. All right, let me check yours. Royal Raider. Like, almost... Bro, who was it that said that? They're actually so right. Everybody has Surge and Seeker. It's crazy. The Burrow Beam and Compound Beam kind of makes sense, because the Burrow Beam was just credits, and this one you got for free, so that's fair enough. Those two are very good. This is pretty good. This is pretty good. This is pretty good. Yeah. Disorientation of what? No. No. And then this one... Yeah. Yeah, that's decent. So it's either... Gemini... Wait. What's this? Guided in close quarters. Well, I guess the pilot doesn't really matter for Hornet, I guess. It's between a 6 and 10... We're at 8 and 12. So you get 4 extra energy by using Hornet. Yeah, probably this would be better. This probably would be better than Gemini. Now, you could choose to use Gemini on Orion instead. In fact, what is your... Oh, we're using the same pilot. You're using the same pilot is the problem. What's this? What implants do you have? These implants are, like, not great. So what you could do, like, if you wanted to use Gemini on your Orion, you could put the Neymar on the Orion, and then just give some random stupid pilot to the Outlaw, because it doesn't really matter a whole lot, you know? And your, like, it's not like you have any crazy implants for your Outlaw or for your Hornet. So it's not like it's not like your pilot demands a certain number of implant slots. It really doesn't. You could just get rid of a couple of them and it wouldn't really make a difference. And either way, you're not getting the damage boost out of it. So it's just a matter of getting a tiny bit less HP. So if you wanted to use the Gemini here, then you could. But otherwise, just keeping the railgun's fine. And then what the heck is this? I didn't even pay attention to this. Wait, does he not? Damage, cooldown, reload. Okay, but here's the thing. You don't really care that much about 8% less cooldown, do you? Like, you don't really care that much about 8% less cooldown, do you? Because you could just be using this pilot, which would get you 20% more damage, just by default. Right? So you're looking at it like this. You're making a trade offer essentially. And it's like 10% HP versus, let me find it. Wait, yes, still 10% HP. Wait, what? Yeah, literally the same amount of HP. It's actually less. 9.8 versus 9 points. It's basically the same. Okay, so it's basically the same. So you're essentially looking at it as like trade offer, right? Trade offer. Either you get 8% cooldown or you get 20% damage. I know which one I would pick. So like use your beam pilot on that. I don't know why you're not. That seems like an obvious decision. So yeah, and then everything else is stats. No offense, but you don't think I judged your hanger that fairly. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, some of these, like, I get caught up in random different things, and then I forget to talk about certain things. Yeah. I mean, like, you want a refund? I don't understand. Confused what to equip on Surge. What shall I do with Solus? Also, did good for Orion according to your SP? What's the difference? Oh, it's just the mods. Okay. Oh, my bad. So, yeah, Railgun Orion's the best Orion build, according to Platinum, anyway. Some people think that like certain other weapons would potentially be better, and you know, maybe there's a case to be made. Somebody said I think they preferred EM rifle, but railgun's really good, so that's fine. Stormrank Lacewing, that's really good. Both of these are maxed out. Eclipse got a nerf, right? And because of that, it probably does slightly worse. So I would just put the better Revokers on the Surge. That's probably what I would do. As well as the better pilot, right? You may as well just stack if you're going to be using it anyway, you may as well just stack the one that's going to be better. And cooldown duration, speed, damage. You might want Revoker range on that. Cooldown duration. Yeah. Dash distance and what? So the damage implant obviously is going to help Surge, but the range implant doesn't do anything, right? So like the whole point of Surge is like you dash in, you use the EMP, you get a bunch of free damage on them. So you're in a moment's notice, you're going to close that distance. You're going to be at like, you know, maybe like 5 meters, certainly not outside of 30 meters. So at that point, the range implant holds no value whatsoever. Whereas Eclipse needs to spend some amount of time running after the target, and so it will actually benefit from a range implant. So I would swap those implants to the range and the damage. And then this 16.6. Shield damage is not a great implant. You could probably get rid of that. Duration, reload, cooldown. Okay. Yeah, you're really looking for the reload implant for Stormrack. The shield damage is not a big deal. I don't think it's that good. Thank you very much. You have enough A coins to get charge rocket implants, but I already have damage. Should I get the distance and speed boost or either one? I guess it kind of depends on what mech you plan on using it with. I don't think the speed boost implant is really necessary. It's funny. It's entertaining. But outside of just the entertainment value, I actually don't think the speed boost implant really holds any value. I think primarily you just use that as like a single implant weapon type thing. Yeah. But if you already have the damage, I think that's the only one that you really need. Let's see. Your salver works on strike rockets and Gemini. I don't know why, but I want to try a new weapon on Redeemer and probably upgrade Orion and use Tetra Rifle. I don't think Redeemer's worth upgrading. Okay, look. This probably works okay, but that's just because these are two high-energy weapons that do pretty well. They're both guided, too, so it's like it's not the worst, but you definitely are going to want to pick one. You're going to want to pick one of these that you like better and get it to rank 6 and then use 2 of them. Right? The hybrid is okay, but it's not ideal. It'd be better to just double down on one. The Overdrive or Aegis, it's okay. It's okay. I mean, I wouldn't really invest. The Orion's really the only one that's worth ranking up long term, right? Like, it's the only one that you really could use long term. And so in that, for that reason, it's kind of the only one that's worth ranking up in most cases, right? So like ranking up this is ranking up Redeemer is Like you can do it if you just want to do it for fun, sure, why not? But in terms of effectiveness, nah, you just go with Orion and then replace these with legendary mechs at some point, right? In terms of weapons for Redeemer, it's just Stormwreck's the best one, and it's really not even close. Let's see, did I check your other one? Yeah, I did. Okay. So, I mean, Charge Rocket might be okay as well, but Stormwreck is just a weapon. It's just a weapon that you're going to want to get, right? Stormwreck 10 and 6. You're going to want to get both of those, and that's just a thing that you're going to have to do sooner. Like, you may as well do it sooner rather than later, because it's just something you're going to want to do. It's kind of just like, it's the second best weapon in the game currently, but once Burrow Beam gets nerfed, it's probably going to become the most OP weapon, which does mean that it might also get a nerf. It's true, but that's just the way that it is. And you can get the 10 and 6 for credits easily enough, so I don't think it's like I don't think it's a big deal. Okay, 6,000. Wait. Yeah, wait, Gemini. That's a strange choice. Okay, Burrow Beam, I got you. Strike Rocket Solus, that's gonna be better than... Wait, was this double time? Yeah, okay. That's gonna be better than Overdriver. Oh, I wouldn't use Overdriver Solus. Hornet 12 and 8 Volti. That's pretty good. Which also you double pog on 10s, but you have 2 legendary missile pilots. That's pretty good. And double pod gun 10s, like they're both rank 6, so it's gonna technically deal more damage, but you don't have a pilot, so I would go with Hornet instead. And then you don't have a pilot for your Burrow Beams either, which at this SP is probably pretty bad, so I probably would not use this. I would probably go with the Revokers, because at least you have the 33% extra damage from that. Because, like Burrow Beam 8s, without a pilot, not really enough damage to kill a lot of things. So yeah, I probably wouldn't do that. The Tetra Rifles are fine on Orion. Stormwrecks are fine on Lancer. Again, you could use... Oh, you have Oh, but those are only rank 3. Never mind. Again, you could use, like, Gemini, right? Like, the Tenants... yeah, you could use Gemini on either one of these, technically, if you really wanted to. But that's... Wait, what's your pilot? Oh, it's just another rare. Okay. Yeah. So you could use Gemini on one of those if you wanted to, but you already have these 2, like, kind of homing builds, so I don't really think you need it. But otherwise, yeah, I don't remember what it was he said, but you're gonna want more than just the one thing that's aggressive, because you have like 4 things that are extremely passive, right? You're gonna want more than just the one thing that's aggressive. You're gonna want at least... I would say at this SP you want at least 2. At max SP you're gonna want at least 3. But at this SP probably 2 is okay. I would replace the... Like, I would... If I was going to get rid of one thing, I'd get rid of probably the Volti. Because, like, you already have this to just kind of stay back and spam guided whenever. Like, you don't really need a Volti as well, right? You just use the Solus. So... and this can do pretty good at this SP, but it's like, yeah, it's not really carrying your... It's not carrying your Hangar at all. So I would replace this with another thing that can be, ideally... also a little bit more aggro. What that would be is up to you. There's plenty of choices. Let me see, get this one. Should you rank up your outlaw to equip both Gemini 12s along with Stormwrack 12? Don't have any good implants, so it's scuffed. Okay. That's... No. I mean... Yeah, it is kind of scuffed. You're right about that. You're right about that. What do we got? You got a missile pilot on your beams. You got a beam pilot on your sniper. You got a sniper pilot on your missiles. You got a close quarters pilot on your guided in missile. And you have a assault pilot on your sniper. There are like at least 3 ways that I could easily think of to optimize this, right? Like sniper pilot here, you have 2 sniper weapons. You just like pick one, right? You have a beam pilot here. Once you replace that, you have a beam pilot here. Put it on the beams, duh. You have a missile pilot here. Put it on the missiles, duh. And then this can just be scuffed. It's whatever. This is what? Strike rocket ton? No. That's fine. Okay. Yeah. You don't need... No, and in terms of ranking up Outlaw, no. Like, making a slightly scuffed build even more scuffed just to use higher energy capacity, no, I wouldn't do that. So this is fine the way that it is. It's good enough. It's actually not that bad. Like, the difference between Stormwrack and Charge Rocket is, like, not huge in terms of playstyle. You do have to be conscious about how you're using Charge Rocket, but that's, like, it's not the worst, right? It's not a big deal. Strike Rocket, you probably want to get this to rank 6 to use 2 of them. The Stormwrack 10, you could also do the same, but you have the 12, so it's, like, not the most necessary thing to do immediately. And then this can be okay, but again, use the beam pilot on it. This, I probably wouldn't do. This is where you're going to want to use, like, probably Stormwrack 10 and 6, if you have the 10 and 6. Or, like, if you have the 6, I mean, because you clearly have the 10. But he's, like, 10 and 6 on there. And then, if you have Orion, I would use Orion with... Oh, wait, you have Suppressor. Hold on. Let me just log. Program 6. Hornet 8. Okay. Compound 8 versus Burrow Beam 6. Compound 8's probably better, even though it's a rank lower. But I'm basing it off of the fact that your pilot's going to be kind of bad as well. So you probably. And then you had what? Hornet? Hornet 8's actually, that's a good one. Hornet is what you should be using because you're not going to have a specialized pilot. And Hornet, like I was mentioning before, Hornet doesn't really rely on specialized pilots. You can use a scuffed pilot and it still do almost just as good. So Hornet Lacewing, I think, would be a very good choice. And then you also had, what, Suppressors? You could use Suppressor on Redeemer. You could also do the other way around. Use Suppressor on Lacewing and Hornet on Redeemer. I don't think it would be bad either. I don't think it'd be bad that way either. Yeah, I think there's a lot of really easy optimizations to make on this hangar without having to buy anything now. Planning on maxing Volti, Blockhorn, and Salver. Probably don't max Volti. Yeah, okay, so I'm just gonna save you some time and some A-coins. Don't worry about maxing out Volti. I have a maxed Volti. The moment you come in contact with players or bots or anybody who's just got, like, they got a, like, you know, the legendary canopy mod, it takes, like, 3 abilities just to get through the mod by itself. It's so bad. It makes me sad. I like Volti a lot, but it's unusable at max level. It just is. So, I'm just going to save you some time there. Don't bother. Salver and Blockhorn, both decent. Not like S tier, but they're both decent. In terms of... let's take a look at what all these are. This is obviously good. Gemini, I wouldn't... like, Gemini Deathwalker, I probably wouldn't bother with that. That's a lot of homing. That's a lot... it's probably too much guided stuff. I think you're leaning into guided stuff too hard. The Deathwalker, Storm Rack, obviously, that's pretty good. This should have the Burrow Beam. This should have the Storm Rack. You have double 16, nice. Savant, Tetra Rifle, Pod Gun. I was trying to get an idea of, like, what you have here. Tetra Rifle Orion is fine. Not the best. I do really like Tetra Rifle Mimicker. If you have the 16, it's actually really fun. It's probably my favorite Mimicker. But Pod Gun's probably okay. Gemini and Savant are probably okay. Wait, does he have Gemini 16? Yeah, he does. Okay. Yeah, so I'd probably like Storm Rack here. Burrow Beam here. Probably Gemini here. Keep the Tetras there. And then this is just like, I don't even, like, it's kind of just there because why not? I don't remember what mechs you said. I think you said Blockhorn and Salver. Yeah. Blockhorn and Salver. Neither one. I think you need something. I think you need some stuff that can apply a little bit more pressure, because you're approaching that level where it's like everything's kind of maxed out, and you have two things that can apply some pressure, but I would say you'd need at least a third. So you're gonna want to replace that Guardian, and you're probably going to replace the Guardian, but I would replace it with something that's a little bit more. It's gonna be a little bit more aggressive than that. I don't think you want another passive thing. I don't think it's going to do that well. But between the two, if I had to pick between Salver and Blockhorn, I'd say my personal choice is Blockhorn, just because, like, healing bots is kind of pointless. But if you play in a team a lot, or if you play, like, clan battles or whatever, then Salver is probably better. Planning on ranking up Surge to 20 energy. And putting 2 Revoker 10s on it. We'll take about 6 to 10k... Oh, wait, hold on. Let me just go back up and find it. Wait, there it is. Take about 6 to 10k acorns. Dang. Grinding acorns right now. Should I wait for Eclipse Crate Rush? Okay. No, I don't think Eclipse is really worth going for now that it's got the nerf and a couple other things have happened. Like Citadel came out that kind of counters it. Blizzfrost counters it. It just has more counters now as well. So it's sadly not really worth going for. Let's see. This, yeah, getting it to rank 6. The thing is that there's a good chance that the matchmaking just decides, like, hey, he's got a rank 6 legendary mech, so we'll put him up against other people with rank 6 legendary mechs, right? So, like, you shouldn't necessarily dump everything into one mech. Because if the matchmaking puts you like that, then you're gonna have one thing that's good, and then everything else is rank 4, and that's like, it kind of just can't compete. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I wouldn't really worry so much about getting this to rank 6 yet. I would worry more about... I mean, at this point, I would worry more about saving A-coins for Crate Rush events, just to swap out some of these mechs. Like, Volti could be okay. What else you got? Not really much. Yeah, probably just put the Volti in here and replace in favor of Redeemer. Not that not Graviton Volti though. Not Graviton Volti. Even if you just used the Podgun 8s on the Volti, I think it's better than Redeemer. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. At this SP, yeah, all of that's fine. Probably just, like, swap this with Volti, and yeah, just at that SP, you're mostly saving A coins for Krieg Rush events, just to get new mechs cheaper. And then once you have the good mechs and the good, that's when you start to then, like, focus on upgrades, right? Planning to rank up Salver because you have a Legendary Pilot and Overdriver 12s. Overdriver Salver, probably not. You gave me the wrong ID. You have enough blueprints to max Blizzfrost, but you want to know, should you get something else? Is there's another... I mean, again, like I mentioned, yeah. I mean, you're gonna have one maxed thing, and then everything else is gonna be rank 4, well, except for searches be rank 5. So what happens if the game decides, oh, he has a maxed mech, so we'll put him up against other people with maxed mechs. Well, all of a sudden, everyone's got maxed out stuff, and you have one thing, but everything else would be so miserably weak compared to that. So it's very, very risky to, like, mega upgrade one thing. It's not really the best choice. So I probably wouldn't do that. Yeah, you could get to rank 5, right? Because your surge is already rank 5. Like, you slowly upgrade stuff, right? One rank difference, not a big deal in terms of legendary. So you could get it to rank 5. It's not a big deal. Not that you'd really use that extra energy, but yeah. Revoker 10 and Repeater 8. You might be better off with just a Revoker 6 if you have it. And then in terms of... what the heck is this, bro? I don't know what that hangar's all about. You do have that. Disruptor 8 versus Charge Rocket 8. Charge Rocket 8 is a very good weapon, so I would keep that. And then this is like, yeah, it's weird. Planning on skipping Stormrack 10, so that seems risky. So. Skipping Storm 10s and going to invest in Stormrack 12. I kind of rushed to tier 7, and I'm planning on getting Hemlock and Soulless, which I replace those mechs with. Oh, like, well, okay. If you got Hemlock and Soulless, what would you put? Where would you put them? I mean, these two are easily your worst mechs, right? Yeah. These two are easily your worst. So you'd put the Hemlock here. You have a 6 and a 12. Your Hemlock will start with 18 energy. That's easy. Right? Reverse on Seeker, and I wouldn't. That's not great. Helix rank lasering, it's not good. Wait, yeah. Why would you? Okay, yeah. I mean, put the Geminis on that, obviously. Wait, what's the difference between these two? It's just the skin. Oh, he's got Revoker Seeker. I see. Versus Reaver Seeker. Revoker Seeker's probably better. Okay, so yeah, this hanger is probably your best one. You put the Hemlock here, and then... I would get the Hemlock first, because I don't really know what you'd do with your Soulless if you got it. I would definitely get Hemlock first, because, like, Soulless, like, you're not going to use Overdriver with it, right? Like, that would be garbage. And if you use, like, I don't know, a second guided weapon, then you'd have 2 guided spammy builds. That's kind of, can work, but it's not necessarily, like, it's not necessary to have multiple. So I would definitely say that Soulless, I wouldn't really know what to do with it, with what you currently have, so I would get the Hemlock and not worry about the Soulless for now. But yeah, not having the thing is, like, not having the Stormrack 10 is... The problem with that is that you can't use a 10 and 6. And then 10 and 6 is what would allow you to use it on 16 energy mechs. Like the Lacewing is a perfect example. You'd want to use the Stormrack 10 and 6 on Lacewing. That would be really good. But since you don't have the 10, you can't really do that. Planning to upgrade your rank 3 mechs, then make more hangar presets? Should you upgrade Eclipse for Charge Rocket or Tetra 8, or upgrade Citadel for Compound Beam 8? Well, Citadel's just kind of better than Eclipse at this point. Yeah, Blizzfrost, Citadel, Eclipse, you could leave it. You could leave it if you wanted to. I would do this. Compound Beam, Citadel, though. I would say, what was you saying about, yeah, Charge Rocket or Tetra? Maybe Charge Rocket on Citadel would probably be better. Because the thing is, like, yeah, Compound Beam is a decent weapon. I mean, it has a seasonal modifier currently, which is going to go away fairly soon. So it's going to be worse in not too long. But it is still decent. The thing with it, though, is like... I mean, first off, you're only going to have it rank 4. So it's not going to do a ton of damage. But also, it doesn't have a lot of range. And a mech like Citadel and Eclipse, right? Both of them, they're not that fast. Same thing with Blizzfrost. It's hard to use them with, like, super close quarters weapons. Simply because you have to... It's not enough to just be kind of fast, because you have to run people down. So if your weapons have basically no range, then while you're chasing people down, they're potentially doing a lot of damage to you, or taking down your shield while you're closing that distance. And so you just don't have the capacity to do as much once you get there. And that's why I don't tend to run them with really close quarters stuff. Yeah, those are fine. Oh wait, what rank are these? Yeah, those are 8. Okay. Yeah, that's what I would probably say. And the Eclipse, again, you could just skip on that. It's not really top meta anymore. It's still very good, but like you could probably find other stuff to invest in, right? Planning to max kill shot? Oh my goodness. Yeah. Probably don't do that. Oh, you already have it rank 6. Maybe you do. Alright. Rank 4. Yeah, see, again, like, the thing is, like, well, what happens if the game decides, oh, okay, this guy's got maxed epic mech, so we'll put him up against other people with maxed epic mechs. Well, the thing is that you only have one, right? You only have one, and the rest of them are not even close. These aren't close to max level. They're only rank 4. So these two aren't really going to be able to compete very well. They're going to be very weak comparatively. You'll have the maxed Lancer, but even that's not that strong. You'll have the rank 4 Surge, but, you know, which is probably the best bet that you have, but apart from a maxed kill shot, yeah, it's just, it really bumps up your SP, maxing out stuff like that. It really bumps up your SP, and it also, like, if it's too far ahead of everything else, then you stand a very good chance of just getting steamrolled by people. You know what I'm saying? So, like, even though, yeah, you could do it, I probably would wait until the rest of your hangar is a little bit higher level. And that's not for me, it's not me saying that you should rank up these either. Certainly not Aegis, it's not really worth it. Orion you could, but mostly like Surge. Or something else. Oh yeah, like Seeker, because you do have Seeker too. Yeah, mostly like Surge and Seeker, right? Just to get stuff that's a little bit closer to that level. Because you don't want one thing that's really high level. It doesn't really work out that well. Chat be crying because I can only do one hangar review every like 5 to 10 minutes. Yeah, and then once I do it, they also complain that I didn't do it in enough detail. It's like, oh, well, you didn't cover all the different aspects about it. It's like, okay, well, listen. I don't have, like, a sheet in front of me that's like, here are all the things. Maybe I should. Maybe I should. I should have, like, I have a little paper in front of me that, like, shows all the different points that I want to make. I don't touch on anything else. I just cover the main points and then be done with it. Yeah, generally what I prefer to do is just talk about optimization, right? Because I know listen, everyone knows what the top meta stuff is, pretty much. Everybody knows pretty much. So if I were to go to every single hangar and be like, oh yeah, well, you should really work toward a Deathwalker, it's like, duh. Yeah, okay. Sure, pal. Let me just work toward it. Like, it's not really like that, you know? So I prefer to work more in the, and you know, sometimes the advice really is to just work toward a Deathwalker. Maybe that's really the thing that they're missing, but you get what I'm saying. But I prefer to work more in the framework of what's immediately possible, or at least very close possible, like, you know, reasonably possible. What's something that they could do that would get them relatively immediate, decent results, or better results? So that's where I prefer to keep myself. And again, I'm not even, like, I'm not a top competitive player either. This is another thing people need to understand. And I'm fully aware of this. Spilled some coffee. The top meta people who are in the chat right now, you guys know that. I never claimed to be a top meta player, right? I never claimed to be super knowledgeable about this sort of thing. But I can give very basic advice because I know a lot of very different, like, I know a lot of things about a lot of stuff, right? I'm not super knowledgeable about any one particular thing, but I do know a lot of different things, is what I'm saying. How to win MAQC. So this is a long story which involves skibbity toilets and also Roshan promo codes. It's maybe a little too in depth for this. But anyway, yeah, so like hold on. I don't see why you were matched against like max level player. I don't know if you're talking to me. I'm definitely not. Well, that's not my like that ID doesn't exist. I don't know what's going on with that. Please help you. Sure. I got you. But yeah, see, and that's just the framework that I prefer to kind of keep myself in. Because I know I'm not super knowledgeable about the max meta whatever stuff, but I know a lot about small optimizations. I know I can do a lot of small optimizations for people who, you know, could use it, right? And there's certain things, it's like, you know, you shouldn't have a full hangar full of 5 guided builds, obviously. So, like, I can tell people that, too. But, like, at the end of the day, I both can't go too in-depth, but also can't be too basic with it at the same time. Like, I'm trying my best to kind of stick in between. So it's not like I can take a look at someone's hangar and just be like, oh, yeah. You know, just do X, Y, Z and just be done with it. Because even in cases like this, like, I have to look at what I have to look and see what other mechs and weapons he has, because I don't know what he has. He's got Hornet 6, Podgun 8, Continuum 6, Overdriver 8. Podgun, Reaver, and Minigun. That's interesting. EM, that's not good. That's against mods, it's not going to do well at all. Compound Beam on Vortex, I don't think that works very well either. If you have Orion, you should definitely use the EM rifles on Orion. That works very, very well. Maybe even stock. Well, no, it's not rank 4. It's only rank 3. Okay, fair enough. If you have Orion, then use the EM rifles on that. Otherwise, don't. This is okay for now. This is okay. How much damage does this do? 23,000. Versus, like... What is a Reaver... Because it's only rank 3. It can't be that good. That's over 20 seconds. Whereas this is over, like, 2 seconds. Like, 1.5 seconds. Maybe? Yeah, maybe it's better that way. Like I'm almost thinking maybe double minigun 6 would be higher DPS. It's like that's what I'm looking at. I'm trying to figure that out. It would almost be better. um. Wait. What? Hornet 6. Yeah. Hornet's a really good weapon. You should use that instead of the EM rifles, honestly. Like, Compound Beam on Vortex, it's not great, but you could probably get somewhat okay results with it. The EM rifle, there's no way that you're getting good results with EM rifle. Unless it's on Orion. I just don't see it happening. Maybe you get a couple kills with it sometimes, but almost guaranteed it's going to be very little. So I would go with Hornet 6s on them. The first one's your main, the other two are for free-for-all and 5v5. Okay, good to know. Thank you. I am going to take a look just to see what they have. Railgun, Burrow Beam, Stormrow, rank 5. Did you buy this with A-Coins, or did you get it for free and then just rank it up a couple times? I do like my Vortex. But sadly, it's not that good, so it'd be kind of a waste if you... Actually, if you bought it with A-Coins or if you ranked it up, either way, it's kind of a waste. But it is nice. It's fun. Hornet 12 and 8. Okay. There. This is definitely a waste. That 10. Okay. 10 and 6. Here's the thing with Burrow Beam. If you can't manage to get a kill with it in one magazine, then you have to use at least 2 magazines, in which case it's just going to take too much time. You may as well use a different weapon. So and I'm expecting, because this pilot's really garbage, right? And your SP's fairly high. I'm expecting that most likely these 2 8s with a rare pilot isn't enough damage output. My guess is that you try using it on Surge, but it just kind of isn't enough damage output. In which case, fair enough, I would just get rid of it and use the Overdrivers on Aegis. Yeah, I would. Don't rank up Aegis? Yeah, that's, I mean... The only epic mech that's really worth ranking up is Orion, technically. Like, I'm gonna... Well, okay, look. I'll say it because people will probably try to come back and talk crap about me later. I probably will rank up my Aegis just because it's one of my favorite mechs. If I do, I'll do it twice so I can use double 10s on it. That is a thing that I plan on doing at some point. But just for fun. Not because I think it's going to be OP, but just for fun, right? Same reason I ranked up Juggernaut, right? It's not the best. It's just for fun. But yeah, everything else looks fine. Everything else looks fine. What's your implants like? Damage radius. Yeah, okay. You're going to want to reload. You don't have a... Yeah. Even just, you know, throwing 600 A-Coins at an epic one is kind of worth it. It is kind of worth it. Fair enough. Hey, no, that's much appreciated. Thank you. 20, it's ridiculous. Thank you very much. What are you looking at? But yeah, like at this point, there's not a lot of cheap A-Coin things to really be doing. So throwing 600 A-Coins at an implant is not the worst decision to make. Unless you're like saving up for something else. Please check your hangar. Okay. Player Genius. It's still going. It's crazy. Oh, he's got this skin. Where did you get that from? Was it from a Discord event? Berserker. Rank 3. Crate Rush event? I don't remember that one. When was that? Compound Beam Vortex is actually pretty good, even in Hangar Showdown. Makes him pretty good brawler. Okay, in Hangar Showdown, sure. But these hangars aren't being used in Hangar Showdown. So, like, I just assume that these aren't being used in Hangar Showdown. In almost all other... That's like saying it's good in free-for-all. Like, some things are... It's such a different environment from, like, CPC and 5v5. And the problem with Vortex is that it just takes too long to close distance. But the further problem with it is that I'm pretty sure in the cases that I was talking about it, those Vortexes were only rank 3. So not only did they have no range, they also had no HP. Because the whole thing, it's a tank, and its ability makes it tanky, but all it really does is double its current HP. If its current HP is garbage, then double of garbage is still not good, and so what you're left with is something that has little range and not a whole lot of effective HP, and that's the reason that I don't like it that much. At max level, yeah, you could probably make it work, especially if you have, like, mods and stuff to back you up and really buy you some time as you close that distance, but otherwise I don't really think so. Yeah, no, not really. Like, I love Vortex, and I've used it with all kinds of weapons, and I just don't think that low-range weapons are the play with it at all. I would actually go so far as to say that I don't think high-exposure weapons are the play with Vortex at all. It doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound right at all. But it just doesn't work out. More often than not, it's like maybe a 1-for-1 trade, and you could get way better results if you just did something else. Anyway, fragment guns, I would not, like, you could rank up your fragment guns, but, like, listen. Let's, hold on. Let me duplicate this. Listen. Fragment gun 8. Or, not 8. 6. Upgrade to max. What a lot of people do... Well, let's even go 8. Let's go 8. What a lot of people do is they max out their fragment gun 8s because it's really cheap to upgrade. But the problem is that you spend almost 1,500 A coins on that, where you could have spent none. Even, like, you could just buy, like, a freaking Revoker or Repeater, right? You buy Repeater 8s, or... Well, it's... Well, no, because I think I got the 8 from the Crate Rush. It would be 6 and 10. But you get what I'm saying, right? You could just buy some other close quarters weapon for credits. And you'd spend more credits on it, technically, right? Because it's 22k here, plus the 58, or 580. So that would be like 600-ish thousand, which is about as much as you'd spend on a legendary. But you spend more but you spend A coins, whereas a legendary you spend 0 A coins, and the results would be the same. So, like, ranking up low tier weapons, I just don't think is worth doing. Almost ever. Like, it's almost never worth doing. You're looking at Frag 6. Yeah, I know. I was using the 8 as an example because most people rank up the 8. More than likely, he's not going to heavily invest in the 6 because he's going to rank up his Seeker one time first. And then when he does that, he'll get the 8s, and then he'll heavily invest in the 8s. You know what I'm saying? I understand what the difference is. Yeah, Tetra Rifle, Aegis, Oh, actually, just swap these. Yeah, actually, I would say specifically these. Because, here's another thing. Aegis gets a lot of free damage time, essentially. When you have the dome up, it's 10 seconds of protection. Where, so long as you don't, so long as you're not running into people's faces with it, you should kind of keep your distance. You put the dome up, you essentially have 10 seconds of duration to deal as much damage as you want. So you may as well use a weapon that has a lot higher uptime and a lot higher reward payoff for it too. Something like Berserker on Aegis. Because then you could do that, and then when your ability's over, you can just reload, and then spend that time reloading, and then you'll be fine. Mimicker is the exact opposite of that. Mimicker does not have any type of like long-term protection. It has little things that can help it in small ways, but you want to keep your distance pretty much at all times and expose yourself as little as possible, and that's something that Tetra Rifle does really well with. So just swapping both of these, I think, would heavily impact both of those builds for the better. Revoker 6. Putting Revoker on Seeker might be better. The Savant on Lancer's fine. And then maybe just find a different weapon for Eclipse, to be honest. Yeah. It's the same problem. It's the same problem as with Vortex. And kind of Citadel, right? Unless you're playing Hangar Showdown, which you probably aren't, or Free-for-All, which maybe you are, I don't know. Unless you're playing one of those two modes, you spend way too much of your ability duration just trying to chase people down. And it's not even so much about taking damage, it's about wasting duration. So by the time you have a really powerful ability, but by the time you get to them, by the time you're done chasing them down, you only have like 2 seconds of your ability left, and you end up getting like maybe a 1-for-1. And like you can't sustain that. It's not a sustainable strategy. So like maybe you can get a 1-for-1 trade, maybe you can, you know, kill 2 people that way. But generally speaking, you're not going to get a lot of, like, it's not a thing that you can do repeatedly and get good results with. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I would say about that. First and third for MAQC. I'll read the rest of that. The first preset is mid to long ranged maps. The second preset is close range maps or free for all. Well, that free for all doesn't exist in MAQC, but okay. The third preset. Oh, I see. Never mind. Yeah, he said first and third, but he's listing all 3. Fair enough. The third preset is balanced hangar mainly for 5v5. Okay, I got you. Yeah, that was my. I just misunderstood that. So this is like mid to long range. This is for free-for-all primarily. I don't know if Dreadnought's going to do that well. Stormrack Seeker. Might be worth putting Revoker on the Seeker and getting rid of the Dreadnought. And replacing the Dreadnought with... maybe not anything. Just put something else in the Dreadnought. Yeah, I mean, like, I also have a rank 4 Dreadnought, right? I think even before the mods change, I just wasn't having a lot of success with it in free-for-all mode. It wasn't doing that well. So I would expect now that they changed the mods and made them more accessible, it's going to be even worse. So... probably put Revoker on Seeker. And then I guess you could put the Stormracks on Dreadnought. Doesn't really matter. This one... Okay. I think Revoker's just better than Repeater. Just kind of straight... Yeah, just kind of straight up. Yeah, I don't think there's much reason to have Repeater. Unless you have, like, crazy implants for it. No. Yeah, because unfortunately, the thing is, like... especially if you're fighting an MAQC, like especially if it's MAQC, I think there's almost no chance that you get them with 1 magazine. Yeah, I just don't think it's going to happen. So you may as well go with Revoker, which is more consistent. Mid to long range. Okay, that. You could maybe... I would... If you have a... like... Okay, look. A ranged map should always have at least 1 guided weapon. So I would recommend putting a Strike Rocket or a Gemini in here somewhere. Maybe a Hornet or a Pod Gun, but the other 2 I think are better because they have better range and like they have just generally better reach. So, like this is a decent ranged build, but I think specifically for ranged maps, it's almost a crime to not have a Strike Rocket or Gemini. Though all of these builds are good. All of these builds are good. You just might get kind of farmed out. You might get kind of farmed out by people who have better range stuff than you. Like, especially Like, what's it called? Elon Station. Elon Station is a great example of people just kind of spam guided stuff and slowly kill all of your mechs. And there's not a ton that you can do. Like this, you can't really rush them. This you can't really rush them with. This you can't really rush them with unless you have line of sight. This you can't do anything with unless you have line of sight. This is kind of your only option. So it's like it's not ideal, is what I'm saying. It's a good hangar, but it's not ideal for like certain maps. And then this one. Yeah. Obviously this one be used for that. Reload. I do kind of like the suppressor lacewing. That's kind of funny. Though maybe you just replace. Maybe you do just swap these two, simply because lacewing's the better mech. Not because suppressor hemlock's good, but just because lacewing's the better mech. And then that's fine. And then this should probably be Revoker, is what I would say. No Outlaw and no Deathwalker is going to make it kind of rough for you. I'm sure that you'd use it if you had it, but it would be kind of rough for you, for sure. You use all your hangars first and third. Second hangar for open and long range maps. Try to keep it balanced and optimized, but don't really know what to do further. Okay. Kill Shotter. Should we ban him, guys? I feel like this shouldn't be allowed. I'm ready to move on to the next guy already. Kill Shotter. What is that, bro? I'm just joking. Well, he said the second one for. Oh yeah, the second one for the ranged maps is what I'm guessing. I think there's no reason to use like a guided Deathwalker. So like, the thing is, well, unless there's an outlaw, but either way, it's not gonna be like great, right? The whole point of Deathwalker is to be basically as aggressive as possible with 0 consequence. So you may as well not use it. Like if you're gonna use Gemini, you may as well just not use Deathwalker at all. Is what I'm trying to say, right? Why, like, swap these two for sure. Absolutely swap these two. The Revoker Search is fine. The Railgun Orion is fine. The Podgun Hemlock is not really ideal, but we'll take a look at what else you have. That might be the best that you got. Oh, you have Podgun Hemlock in all 3 of them. Yeah, it's not great. It's okay. You do have 10 and 8, and you have a decent pilot. Well, actually, you have good implants on that. Nice. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just Podgun. Podgun doesn't really mesh super well with Hemlock, but it's okay. Quasher. Burrow Beam. Again, it's a matter of, like, if you can't kill most things with 1 magazine of Burrow Beam, then just don't bother using it. Like, obviously it's OP, and you know that it's OP. Everybody knows it's OP. But, like, just because, like, if it's not working, then don't use it, right? Don't force it into your hangar out of principle. And I would guess that it's a fair chance that probably the Revoker's gonna do better for you for now. Because you have a 10 and 8, whereas this is just double 8s, and your pilot's kind of garbage. 17% versus 33%. It's not the biggest difference, but it's a difference, right? It's less about the percent difference. It's more about whether or not this can kill in a single magazine. Because if this takes 2 magazines, then Revoker's still gonna kill faster. So yeah, that's the main thing to look for there. You know, this is obviously that's really good. This is damage cooldown. You're gonna want to get outlaw range at some point. The ability range. Quasher. I just use really like. Yeah, I don't even think there's really much of an argument to be made for Orion using different weapons depending on the map. I think it's just a matter of, like, Railgun Orion's kind of just better. Yeah. Yeah, the Quasher, I don't really see much reason for that. The pod guns, again, not ideal, but it's okay. And yeah, I wouldn't use the weapons in this orientation here. Pod gun 12 6 on your outlaw, 20 energy. Or double burrow beam 8s. No, not burrow beams on your outlaw, no. Pod gun's definitely better. First preset for close quarters. Second for Lancer maps, and third is your main. Okay, so it's just like the balanced one. So this is like specifically close range. This is just for jumpy maps, and this is just for everything else. So I'm trying to see what changes between them. Surge Orion. Okay, Panther. Okay. Yeah, it's good that you have the Panther on this in this hangar with the laser swing, because especially that 1-3 beacon map works so well with Panther. It's ridiculous. This is like your primary one. That's fine. Maxed Tengu. I mean, is it better to have a maxed Tengu or like a rank 4 laser swing? Even on maps where it's not necessarily the best mech, it doesn't really matter. Like, it doesn't have to be the best mech, right? It can just be decent. What's the HP? Oh, actually, I'm curious. 140 versus 87. Okay. So it's like double. It's almost double. Now, using Tengu makes sense in the close quarters maps. I do feel like you probably want a laser swing here, though. Maybe not in place of Aegis, because you do want something, some type of shielded thing. It really is kind of map dependent in terms of like laser swing versus Tengu. So that's fair enough. And some of these they're pretty close hangars. Not like close range, but like close in terms of performance. Like a lot of the builds are very similar. I don't have any like major notes outside of just like, you know, phase out some of these mechs at some point, right? Like Dreadnought, not that good. Eclipse, not that good. Aegis, not that good. Like even Tengu can be pretty decent, but like, you know, mostly Dreadnought. Yeah, it's mostly the epic stuff. Mostly the epic stuff that you don't have super upgraded, as well as Dreadnought and Eclipse. Not super ideal. But like they seem pretty well optimized in terms of what I'm seeing. The mechs and weapons that I'm seeing, they seem pretty well optimized. You have Storm Rank 12 and Gemini 12. Should you rank them up for your Deathwalker and Outlaw? For that, you would also need to rank up the 2 mechs. I mean, it's obviously everyone knows. Like, we're all sitting here, we're all in agreement that ideally, eventually, you upgrade them at some point, right? So it's a matter of whether you do it now versus whether you do it later. But let me see. Because the main thing is what I'm looking for is this. This is what I'm mainly looking for. Is do you want a... Well, what do I... Nah, it would only be rank 5, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you don't want to have too many rank differences between your mechs. This is essentially the point that I'm gonna try to make. Is like if you have 2 mechs that are rank 5, you don't want to also in the same hangar be using a mech that's rank 3. It's not going to work very well. Because, like, you know, in the case that those 2 rank 5 ones die, you're left with a rank 3 one, which is almost guaranteed to not work very well. But in this case, it's just a matter of between rank 4 and rank 5, which is not a big deal, right? You already have a rank 5. That's totally fine. And so, yes, that is something you're going to want to do eventually, probably sometimes kind of soon. But it's also a matter of, do you wait for another good mech crate rush? Do you save up your acorns for another good mech crate rush? Is there anything specific? I might not see it. There's too many messages going on, so I might not see it. But if there's anything specific that you're looking for in terms of mechs, especially, then probably you'll want to hold off on ranking them up, because you just get it from a crate rush, right? You get the mech from a crate rush. Like, you save up, what? You save up 7,000 acorns. And then, while you're waiting, and if it still doesn't show up by then whatever extra that you have on top of that 7,000 is considered, you know, spendable currency, and you can then save up and rank them up from there. Right. He says not really. Yeah. But yeah, I don't really see anything like glaring that's like, oh, you definitely need to get this, except for like I was gonna say except for Citadel, but Citadel after the modifiers are gone, I don't think is gonna be that good. I'm having a brain fart, dude. Like, why am I not able to think of another, like, top S tier mech that he's missing? Oh, Lace Swing, that's what it is. Yeah. I think Lace Swing is one that you're going to want to get. But otherwise, like, you know, Outlaw, Surge, Deathwalker, Blizzfrost, you definitely have most of, like, the really top meta mechs. But you're missing a couple. So if you wanted to save up and get like one more, if you want to save up for like one more, then that's how you do it. But otherwise, if you don't, and you don't really care about getting anything else, then sure, go ahead and rank them up and go ahead and rank up the weapons. But it's going to cost a lot, probably about the same as a mech would. Oh, whoops. The chat started scrolling. Gonna use Hangar 1 for Deathwalkers and high HP mechs, and Hangar 3 for 5v5 and CPC. What do you mean Deathwalkers and high? As in to counter Deathwalkers and high HP mechs? But you have you have a whole hangar dedicated to that. How do you know if you're gonna fight them? How do you know if you're gonna fight Deathwalkers and high HP mechs? You know, like how do you decide that this is the hangar to spawn? I don't get it. Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, in theory, it's good, but, like, you don't really have any reason to spawn it ever. So it's just like, well, maybe they do it. Double Blast RPG 12 is crazy work, though. That's actually really funny. It's gonna get a buff, and I wish that I could buy it, but I also want to buy Solus, and I don't have enough for both. Psychic Reading? Oh, my bad, okay. Cryo 12? Okay, that's definitely not worth doing. Stormrack 10 and 8. You have no mods. Okay. So, first thing you're going to want to do is get some mods. Not these epic garbage ones either. You're going to want legendary ones. You're going to want perimeter multilayer specifically, and you're going to want to focus on the mechs that are really good. Like the top tier ones, like Lace Swing, Surge. And for now, that's actually it. Just Lace Swing and Surge are the only two that are guaranteed to be really good. You do have one for Surge, actually. Wait, is it just... Oh, no, you just already... Okay, I just didn't see it. So, Lace Swing is the only one that you're really going to want to do, but Seeker is another really good one to have. Parasite's another really good one to have. Solus, maybe. Eclipse is, like, these three are not really meta mechs, so they don't matter a ton. Hemlock as well, but you already have one, so that's fine. Cryo Launcher, not really worth doing. Let me see. Wait, did he say how his blast RPGs were working? Fusion Cannon Aegis, I didn't even notice that. That's actually crazy work. And they're rank 3 too. Bro, okay, that's just there to lower his SPs at that point. Like, that thing doesn't work at all. Did he say how well the blast RPGs worked? I'm very curious. So those are double 12s. That's pretty good firepower. They work well. Nice. That's really cool. Don't expect them to continue working well, because they're incredibly garbage. They will get a pretty hefty buff, though, and I'm excited to see how they work after that. I think keeping Eclipse with guided stuff is a good idea. That's how you should do it. Wait, what rank is the Seeker? Is it rank 4? Oh, okay. Yeah, this is just your lower rank stuff. I guess, yeah. Oh, I see what's going on. I see what's going on. And this is double 10. It's double 12. Dang. Like, you kind of just done. I would say you need to work on some weapons, to be honest. Like, some of these weapons are not that good. Even this, which is like Stormrack, obviously is really strong. But Stormrack on Blockhorn is not that strong. It's like it's just not that good. Cryo Launcher's not great. Blast RPG is not great. You definitely need to work on some better mechs. You also need to get some, you know, legendary mods. But I'd say you're pretty high SP. It's actually kind of surprising. You got some high rank stuff, but I wouldn't say it's like the most optimal. Hold on, I saw this. Your 5-year account. One is 5v5. Hangar 2 is CPC. Oh, nice. It's like almost 10k. 5v5, CPC. Don't worry. Stormrack Surge, not really a good idea. Revoker Vortex, also not really a good idea. Like, you could just swap those two and you'd get almost immediately better results. Oh, well, it's 10 and 6. Yeah. And at this SP rank 4 Vortex, I don't think it's going to work that well. Wow. Okay, this is interesting. I don't think it's good, but it's interesting. So, your goal should be to phase out the Panther, I think. And the Vortex. Because, like, you could just slowly invest in the Vortex more and more, but it's really not that good, right? It's only mid, and that's right now with the modifier that's going on, right? So it's going to be even more mid after that's over. So it's not really good, sadly. Hornet Solus is good. Revoker Surge, which is not in the hangar. Here, Revoker Surge is pretty good. Tetra 10 and 8. Okay. Interesting. Strike Rocket 10s. Stormrack 10s. I'm trying to figure out what he has. But he has double railgun 12s. You could use a double railgun 12s on your Orion. Why not? I don't know why you're not. You definitely do that. And then the Revoker's here, and then the Hornets here. Yeah, that's fine. And then, I mean, I guess you can keep the Reavers there for now. What's another mech that he has? Not really much. Oh, Hemlock. Hemlock is the other one. Hemlock is the other one. So replace this with a Hemlock and put the Stormracks on it, yeah. Easy. The 10 and 6. Do you have the 6? Or it's rank 6. You just use double 10s. Never mind. I don't know why it took me that long to realize that. Yeah. So, like, pretty easy optimization, I would say, is, like, Revoker here. Get rid of this, replace it with Hemlock, Stormrack 10s. Keep this, that's fine. Railgun 12s on this. And then this is, like, kind of just your worst build, but it's there, right? It's better than having an empty slot. You just noticed Oracle was made free to play? Yeah, I got the notification about it like a couple days in advance. Like us official content creators, we were notified. They were like, "Hey, we're gonna make this thing free to play in a little bit." In like they told us like the day, And I just forgot about it. I was going to make a video, but I forgot about it. And honestly, I don't think it's that important because it's such a nothing weapon. I don't think anybody is ever like, ooh, should I get Oracle? I think everyone kind of mutually understands that it's garbage. And if everyone mutually understands that it's garbage, like, why would I even bother spending time on it? The Panther and Surge does well, though. Well, I mean, the Surge can do well. I think, if I'm being completely honest with you, I think your standards are just low. That's actually, disagree with me, but that's what I think is happening. I think your standards are just low. And you don't realize how much better you could have it if you did it differently. They don't look bad. They don't look terrible. But they're not ideal. What's the difference between these? Okay. Tetra Rifle and Savant. It's the only thing that changes. Okay. This, again... Somebody's saying that he's been here after the first hour. Or he's been here for... Alright, I'll check yours next, whatever. Okay, so, like, there's several points to make. First off, rank 3 Vortex specifically kind of just doesn't work that well. I know this because I had a rank 3 Vortex, just like everyone else. And it just didn't work. Getting it to rank 4 definitely helped, but it's probably not really worth ranking up, so I would just find something to swap it with, if I'm being completely honest. Like, I'd just swap it with something. This Hangar's probably better. The Savant Lancer's probably better than Tetra Rifle Lancer. For as much as I think Salver is good with Savant, I just don't think that the Lancer is at all good with Tetra Rifle, and this is okay. The problem that I have with Charge Rocket on Lace Swing is that it just doesn't have a lot of range. Like, 80 meters max range is not that much. So if you're on top of a roof, and someone's across the way, and they're like 100 meters out, you can't move off the roof to try to shoot them. That's a stupid idea, so you have to wait for them to get inside range. It's not ideal, right? So ideally, you'd have, like, Stormrack or something to deal more damage. If you had the Stormrack 10, then you could use 10 and 6 on Lacewing, and just let this build suffer, because it's already not going to be great. The Burrow Beam Aegis... 9% beam damage. I doubt this is doing very well, but it's probably better than anything else that you have. Unless you have, like, maybe Overdriver or Viper. I actually, unironically, think Overdriver or Viper might do better on Aegis than these will. Simply because I doubt that they'll be able to 1-mag kill stuff. Because here's the thing. It's not enough to just be able to kill something. It's not enough to just be a good weapon or have high damage output. The thing with a weapon like Burrow Beam, or like Stormrack, or like Savant, is that they're only really good if they're able to kill something in one magazine. If you can't, then you have to fire that magazine, and then you have to reload. Excuse me. And then you have to reload, and then you have to fire it again. And that can take upward of, like, 10 full seconds. Whereas it would have taken, like, maybe 5 seconds with an Overdriver or a Viper, which are generally worse weapons. But since they, you know, those are weapons where they're gonna kill stuff, but it's just a matter of time. They don't have the type of burst damage. They don't have the capacity to kill stuff instantly. But they also don't have to worry so much about killing in multiple magazines. So in the case where this can't one-shot things, just get rid of it. Which I would expect to be the case. I would expect that it doesn't one-shot most things. And then, yeah, if you have the Stormrack 10, probably put 10 and 6 on Lacewing. Otherwise, I guess this is fine. You could even put the Charge Rockets on Aegis, but that would leave your Burrow Beams somewhere else. Or you get rid of the Burrow Beam. I don't know what else you have. If you have, like, Podgun 8, that would also be good. Wait, hold on. There was this guy that said that he's been here for an hour. I gotta go find him again. You mean you left watching me an hour ago? Oh, dang. That's crazy work. Alright, well, I'll get you anyway. Here it is. This guy. Pretty sure this is the right guy. Okay. Let's see. He's got... Okay, well, no. I already checked this one. What are we talking about? I already checked this one. Why he sent it again? First is the main one. The second is long range. Okay. So this is the long range. This is the main one. Stormwreck Orion is a main. It does work. It is. I mean, at this SP especially, it's like a guaranteed one-shot kill. You don't really have a reload implant, so it's not much that you could use it on outside of that. Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm not going to say too much about that. I like that you're using just a random stupid rank 4 Paragon for your strike rocket because you clearly understand the concept that on a weapon like that, it literally doesn't matter what mech you have. You're just going to stand in the back and take no damage anyway. So that's good. It's cost effective. That's what that is. This here... Oh, right, you have right. Okay. Assuming you don't have repeater 6. Probably... Oh, wait, that's beams. Okay. So the only difference is just the... Oh, Stormwreck. I wouldn't use Stormwreck Surge, even on a ranged hangar. Because the thing is, like, even on ranged, heavily ranged maps, you still sometimes want to be able to get people close range. And the thing with Stormwreck is, like, yeah, it has good range, and it'll most likely kill stuff in one magazine, but if it doesn't, sucks, right? That's really bad. And you being a Surge, your ability helps you not even the smallest amount, right? What are you going to do? EMP them for 3 seconds during your 9-second reload. Good luck, right? You're still dead either way. So it doesn't really help to put it on Surge, right? Like, Stormwreck's a good weapon, obviously, and Surge is a good mech, but they don't pair well together, and that's the point I'm trying to make. This is fine, this is fine, this is fine, yeah. And then that's just kind of the thing that it is. The Stormwreck... Oh, I didn't even realize your Stormwreck 10 is rank 6. Yeah, I didn't even realize that. Berserker 16, I probably wouldn't bother with that. It might even be better to use the Stormwrecks on Seeker in this hangar. Like 2 Stormwrecks. You know? Because at least you have a... At least you have another... Where is it? At least you have another missile pilot. Whereas this, you're stuck using 2 different weapons. First off, the primary one being one that's not that good. And it's on a pilot that isn't even specialized. So you're kind of losing a lot of damage that way. It's not that great. So you might be better off using 2 Stormwreck builds here. And that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. And then this being your ranged one. Yeah. You could probably put Stormwrecks here and Revokers here. You're gonna head out? Alright, bye-bye. You are a newbie. Alright. Let's see. Some better gear to get. Not MVP. All right, good to know. You're in tier 4. The video's much appreciated. I have the, like, complete gear hub guide, by the way. Like, which is a video that it's not... It hasn't, like, blown up, because it's just one of those videos that that just gets a lot of views over a long, extended period of time. So you might not have seen it. It's not one of my most popular ones, but it's a really good one. So it just goes through the entire gear hub and basically just tells you everything that's worth getting. I think I didn't mention Gemini, and a lot of people got, like, personally offended by that, but you just keep that in mind, that Gemini is also a good weapon. Nade Launcher 8, Ember, yeah, so, like, rank 3 Vortex is gonna be good at this SP. It's very good at this SP, but, like, apart from this SP, it's not really gonna make anything, right? Fragment Gun Ares, yeah, sure. I mean, you're mostly just progressing. You're not even worried about too much stuff. You're gonna want to get, like, tier 5 buying Aegis is probably, like, the most, you know, pivotal moment for you. Otherwise, you basically just do whatever you want. Just try not to spend any Acoin. Like, try to spend as few Acoins as you possibly can, the purple currency. Those are very premium. You don't get those from very many places, so try to spend those as little as possible. Only use the blue credit currency. And that's about the only thing that I'm going to say. Everything else is just, like, you can progress basically however you want. You could also spend 10 years optimizing your 2k SP hangar, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because you'll move past that point pretty quickly. All right, I've seen yours a few times. I'll get to yours. You also have Parasite, Nomad, and most other legendary weapons, mainly focusing on pilots and implants. Good choice. My implants on Burrow Beam are about maxed. Also have Burrow Beam 12. I use both hangars. Okay. So it's between Strike Rocket, Deathwalker. I think that's kind of pointless. Oh, it's either too much reach with Deathwalker or too little reach with Deathwalker. I think the sweet spot with Deathwalker is somewhere between. Because you have... It essentially works like this, right? It's essentially a weapon that doesn't really have a lot of range, and you have to spend a lot of ability duration trying to chase people down, and also you're not that fast, so there's a lot of things that you simply can't catch up to. So you spend a lot of ability duration trying to catch up to people, and even though you have a long duration, it's less about wasting duration, it's more about the fact that you could be doing a lot during that, but you're actually doing basically nothing because you're just trying to run people down the whole time. And that's contrasted by this, which, at the end of the day, you could use these weapons on literally anything else, never move from the spawn area, and you'd be basically the same. You'd be just as well off, right? So there's no reason to use it on Deathwalker specifically. What is this, a 10 and 8? Yeah, okay. So, yeah, there's not really a lot of reason to use either of those Deathwalker weapons, is what I think. You have Revokers on Blitzfrost, Burrow Beams on Surge, Railgun on Orion, Savants on Lacewing. Okay, pretty good, pretty good. You also have Hornet. You also said, like, Burrow Beam 12. He also has Parasite. I forgot what the other thing was, but he has Parasite. I don't think... I mean, your mechs are pretty good. I think your mechs are pretty good, because you do have 3 aggro builds here. And you could, you know, you could make a third, you could make a fourth with Parasite, but I don't think it's necessary. I think it's okay to have 2 things that are a bit more passive. That's fine. Those Hornet 8s, oh yeah, okay, so it doesn't really matter. It's mostly Venom damage anyway. Stormwrack 10 and 6. Wait. Implants? Reload. Okay. Dang it, I keep going the wrong direction. I keep going the wrong direction. Okay, so I would say instead of Savant, I'd probably go with Stormwrack. Simply because Savant has the same problem that, what's it called? Charge Rocket does, where its base range is 80 meters, which is genuinely not that much. It's just not that much. So it's, yeah, not really ideal. You could use Stormwrack 10 and 6 on Deathwalker as well. You wouldn't use the energy, though. I mean, does it matter? No, not really. I guess you probably do want to do that. So instead of the compound beams, you probably just use storm wreck. And like, think of it this way too, right? This fills up your energy more, but it's also only rank 4. So rank 5 damage per mag. We'll just look at the damage per magazine, right? As a way of comparing ratios. This is all we're doing, comparing ratios. Now, this should be about a 30% difference, but let's look at it. It should be like 30, somewhere between 30 and 35, I think. 26,450. No, it's 25%. So it's about a 25% difference. Or 20% less than what rank 5 would be, we can say. So your rank 4 is about 20% less than what it should be, which we can directly attribute to the energy capacity, just to give us a frame of reference. So it's like it's like almost 2 energy. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that these rank 4 8s are about only as good as a compound beam 6 if it was rank 5. So it's a little bit better than a 6. Whereas this is the same thing. It's just, it loses probably about the same amount, proportionally. So it's about the same as like a 10. So even though this technically fills up all 20 energy, in terms of actual usefulness, if it was rank 5, like compared to rank 5 weapons, like these, compared to rank 5 weapons, this is essentially a little bit better than a 6, and this is essentially a little bit worse than a 10. So you may as well just be using a 6 and a 10. Right? It's like the... And for the people who are like wondering why I'm spending so much time on this part specifically, it's like the energy filling fallacy, right? People will purposely make their builds worse, or like actively make their builds worse for the sake of filling up their energy capacity, because they think that filling up their energy capacity just directly means that it's better, but it doesn't. And that's the point I'm trying to make. It's not necessarily to you specifically, but to everyone else who might be watching. Want to check yours out? I do want to check yours out. Let's see. Disruptor. Interesting. 2 Stormwreck. Yeah, 1 rare pilot. Okay, fair enough. 2 close quarters, but you have 1 legendary, 1 epic. That's pretty good. 3 missile builds, but yeah, that's the problem with tripling down on a certain type of weapon, is that now you don't really have the pilots for it. Let's see. I'm trying to get a better idea of what other stuff that you have. Compound beams, obviously, but you have the heavy-duty pilot. That seems to be the only pilot that you have. You also have savants. Yeah, okay. So these 2, those are very good. This, also very good. This is decent. Burrow beam 8. Compound beam 8. But without any beam pilots, that burrow beam probably won't be that good. Yeah, so this might be better still. So the main thing is just that Dreadnought. I would not really use the Dreadnought. It's not that good. Yeah, this is probably... Wait. This could be a... Was it anything? Parasite. Yeah, wait, what rank is that? Yeah, why not use the Parasite? Yeah, I would say the best hangar would probably be one where this gets replaced with Parasite. And then you have, like, obviously these 2 the way that they are, these 2 the way that they are. And then the Parasite has, like, maybe Compound Beam. I don't like having low-range weapons on Parasite, but that's, like, maybe the best that you got. Savant would be... I don't think Savant would be that good, because it just doesn't have enough sustainability. Disruptor, no. Maybe... I mean, Burrow Beam at least has some form of range. Yeah. It's not going to one mech things, almost guaranteed. But at least it has better range. And you don't care as much about exposure time because you're a parasite. So yeah, it's probably what I'd do here. And that would be like probably your best, like your main hanger there. But yeah, the heavy duty pilot, it's not really helping a lot of your weapons. I wish I had that heavy duty pilot, but alas. Been here for like 1+ hours. Okay. First preset's for free-for-all. Second is your main. The third is only for your sniper, Orion, and okay. I don't really know what that means. Free-for-all. Okay, so the second is your main one. Right. That's an interesting one. Okay. I'm not gonna worry too much about that. And then, oh, okay, it's just the difference between these two is just whether or not you have Tetra Rifle or Pod Gun. Fair enough, okay. That's fine. This I don't think is great. I think some people may or may not have put this in simply because it copies mine, but like I was just using that for the sake of like just trying stuff. I don't think it's actually great. Stormrack Lace Swing, sure. Yeah, that's good. Revoker Surge, sure. Hornet Outlaw, sure. It's like, yeah, Reaver Blizzfrost, it kind of is sometimes just the best that you can do with the limitations that you have. I was kind of stuck on the same predicament. Though ultimately, like, low-key, if you're using Tetra Rifle on Orion, you might even just use Pod Gun on Blizzfrost. Like, it might just be better, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, guys, listen to Sanjay. Don't spam. It's just, I'm not gonna be able to get to everybody. It's not possible. I don't have that kind of time. And like, I could spend 2 seconds on everybody's hanger, but that would not really help anyone. But yeah, in terms of this, like, oh yeah, this, okay, the 6s, suppressor turns per minute. Yeah, maybe in this hanger with this, maybe just put the pod guns on there, because like Reaver just kind of doesn't do that much damage. Is the problem. You gotta head out to work soon in 6 minutes. All right, I got you. Okay. It's between Lacewing, Blizzfrost, and Outlaw. I think Outlaw is a fairly non-negotiable mech these days. Citadel's very good. Surge very good. Deathwalker very good. I would replace the Eclipse if anything. So, you know, keep the Outlaw there. But you also have Blizzfrost and Lacewing. Now, in some maps, Lacewing's not going to work. In some maps, it will. But I would say, generally speaking, this would be your primary one. You'd put the Lacewing here with Gemini, I guess. Yeah, okay. Yes, you put the Lacewing here with Gemini. And then on the maps where it doesn't really work, then you just use the Blizzfrost with Gemini. And that's what I would say. But I do think every hanger should have Outlaw. It's just unreasonably effective. And it's almost necessary to counter other Deathwalkers, right? Which in itself is also unreasonably effective. You have all mechs, every single mech. Rank 4. That's interesting. I mean, on certain maps where Lacewing does well, I still think that the Lacewing here is the best choice. You're going to want, like, Gemini on it's not ideal. It's like Stormrack is the best weapon for it. Ideally, you'd use like Stormrack on here, probably Burrow Beam on here, but then Burrow Beam is going to get a nerf, so maybe Revoker is still better. Burrow Beam here, And then this would have some type of probably guided thing. Like maybe you put the Geminis on here, right? You don't really want like a brawler weapon on Outlaw. Because it's a very passive mech. It wants to stay far back. It's fairly tanky, but like, it has really long range ability, so you may as well keep range. But yeah, Eclipse not very effective. And the best mech would still be Lace Swing for that. But if not Lace Swing, if it's like a bad map for Lace Swing, then yeah, Blitzfrost would still be better. Yeah, I think those are the best mechs that you got. But yeah, I wouldn't keep the Eclipse as a permanent. Third is suitable for 5v5, CPC, and free-for-all. All best of mine have all legendary mechs and weapons. Okay. So the third preset is what he's saying. Okay. Stormwreck, Solus, Overdrive Orion, Charge Rocket Mimicker. Yeah, alright. I don't love it, but it's okay. Gemini Dreadnought, Burrow Beam Deathwalker, Okay, well, I mean, like, a pretty easy 16-6. Yeah, okay, we can't fit 16 and 6 on that is the problem. Let's see if anything else. Outlaw, 16-6. Yeah, it's unfortunate. You definitely want the Stormwrecks on Deathwalker, but, I mean, you can't right now because you have... you don't have the energy capacity for that. Dreadnought's not that good. I would replace that with Outlaw easily. Mimicker's not that good. I would replace it with... probably Hemlock. Yeah. I mean, Hemlock's an easy choice. Orion is also not the best, but it's better than Mimicker, at least. And I would definitely not use it with, like, a brawler-type weapon. I would use it with something that has a lot more range. I'd probably put the Gemini on it. So, this is strength for you use, like, if you have the 10, then 10 and 6, or if you have the 8s. But otherwise, just, like, 2 6s, I guess. But, Overdrive, it's not going to do that well. Yeah. And then this is okay for now, but ideally, again, you want missile-type weapons on Deathwalker to get that radius. Probably Stormwreck. Stormwreck's the best one. And then you could put the Burrow Beam... crap. You'd replace this with... hold on. Foker. Dang. You have, like, nothing that's actually, like, aggressive. Like, every single one of these things is... well, except for that. You're really trying to just, like, outlast people. Which can work, but generally speaking, you're weak to people who are too... like, anyone with a surge is going to easily kill half of this. Like, more than half of this, you know what I'm saying? So... that's not ideal. That's really not ideal. I would replace the... you have a Hemlock, which is better than the Dreadnought, but even still, it's not aggressive. So you're going to want, like, a Surge. You're going to want, like, a... Blizzfrost, Citadel, whatever else that's aggressive. I'm sure you know what they are. And you're going to want to get something like that. Because otherwise, you're forced to use stuff like this, which is just, like, is not optimal. You're forced to use your Orion fairly aggressively. It just doesn't work that well. Alright, so that's definitely something that you need to try to work out. Alright, this is going to be the last one. This is going to be the last one. Because it's already... yeah, it's already been, like, almost 3.5 hours. 6,000... yeah, okay. Strike Rocket... okay, that's really good. That's really good. That's really good. That's really good. This is not. So the Shadow needs to be replaced with something. What does he have? Is it just the Aegis that's different? Outlaw Surge. Yeah. I think it's just the Aegis that's different. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, Shadow can be better than Aegis in some cases. Fair enough. Would I use Hornet on it? Maybe not. Let's see. Stormrack Podgon. Savant. Disruptor. Repoker. He does have a Repoker, but I don't know if Repoker is the best idea for that. I guess that's, I mean, I guess it's good enough, right? It's like it's either that or like Gemini, but then you're fighting for pilots. Because Hornet's, it's better than Podgun. Hornet's better than Podgun. So it's either that or like Gemini or Savant, but you only have one guided pilot seemingly. So and it's better to keep it on that because that's clearly the better build here. So that's fine. It's not ideal. Like this, obviously that's aggressive. This can be sort of aggressive depending on the mech. You can, I mean, it's a lot of guided spam, so Shadow can work actually really well. You'd be surprised. At this SP, you'd be very surprised how well Shadow can do. But other than that, you're really banking on being able to kill them with this other, a little bit more spammy stuff, or just DPS with Orion. Which is, like, not necessarily gonna work. I would say, if anything, maybe swap the Orion with something else. Something else that can go a little bit more toe-to-toe with a lot of enemies. Right? So, maybe you don't have something that can do that yet, but that's just something to look out for, is what I'm saying. Deathwalker would obviously be, like, you know, like a good example of that, because it's kind of just, like, one of the most OP mechs. But there's other ones that can that do very well. But yeah. That, I'm gonna call it here. That's gonna be it. It's been a little while. I don't want to do these for too long. How about Blizzfrost? Yeah, Blizzfrost is another great example. Like, there's a lot of, like, decent... When I talk about, like, aggressive mechs or defensive mechs, there's a lot of overlap when it comes to that. Most of the top meta mechs are aggressive to some extent, because that's just the way that the game is at max level. So, like, Deathwalker, Surge, Blizzfrost, Citadel, Parasite, kind of, not the most, but the kind of, there's one that I'm missing. I'm almost sure of it. Did I mention Deathwalker? I don't remember if I did. But you get what I'm saying. Yeah, the stuff that, like, you would generally see, the stuff that you would generally use to just, like, not necessarily run straight into the enemy, but to some extent run straight into the enemy. You get what I'm saying? Whereas, like, you know, something like a Volti, you're not going to do that, or at least you very well shouldn't, because it's just not going to work very well. So it's a level of, it's a matter of, like, keeping some type of balance between stuff that can hang in the back and deal free damage, essentially, versus stuff that can actually go toe-to-toe with enemies. If you have too much of one, then you're going to really suffer from the other, essentially. And obviously, like, the stage of the game matters a lot, too. In really early game, then you can go almost completely spammy backline, you know, passive stuff, and you'll do perfectly fine. It's actually almost ideal to do it that way. So, like, really early on, you don't really want a lot of aggressive stuff. It won't work out very well. It's just way too easy to spam people to death in early game. In late game, it's the exact opposite, where you really can't... Even just having one build that's dedicated to being, like, super spammy backline is kind of... it can be kind of detrimental, and certainly not having two would be ideal. So, like, where you're at in, like, 6k SP, it's, like, somewhere in the middle. And obviously, there's a little bit more forgiveness because it's just different things that are happening depending on how you use it and what you have, and it just kind of determines what you do with it. But because not everybody has the capacity to make the most ideal hangar ever. Second most cost-effective mod. It doesn't even matter. Perimeter multilayer is the most cost-effective. Like, to the point where even if you had it, like, you wouldn't even consider any of the other ones until your perimeter multilayer was completely max level. Which I almost guarantee nobody has that. Like, almost nobody has that. But, I mean, apart from that, I would say the second one to go for. Like, if you did have it max level, the second mod to go for would be just Hardened Hull. Because that's just straight HP, it's always useful. As opposed to, like, Canopy or Galvanic Hull, those can be good, but they're more niched, right? They're not guaranteed to actually give you value. So, yeah. Anyway, when will be the next hangar review stream? I don't know. Probably for the next one, though. I don't know. I kind of just had a thought during this stream. Maybe for the next one, I try to keep it a lot more streamlined. I have, like, a list in front of me of, like, different points to go through. And then I basically just go through the checklist for everybody's hangar. I try to keep it as short as possible. I'm not going to go into, extensive detail into certain areas. But I'm also not going to spend as much time on it, right? So I'm going to try to get through them a little bit faster, which may result in me not saying certain things, but at least I'll get through a couple more and cover, the important stuff. And yeah. That's gonna be it for what's this? This is the 30th. So, yeah, less than a week. There's gonna be the rebalance, so that'll be interesting. We'll probably have a stream at some point around then. But yeah, otherwise, that's gonna be it. Appreciate y'all. Take care.